I'm here. I'm freaking here, dude. That really requires state announcement. Hello.
Hey Max, how you doing this land?
Hi.
Why you say it like that?
I just woke up.
Oh yeah, you sound like you're fucking wasted, my man. You all right?
I'm a little tired, but I'm good.
Okay, I was just checking in on everything we talked about. We we already have plans to pivot, go a bit more private, do what you asked. We just need
Nice.
some confirmation that things are good to go. We're gonna be taken care of and shit.
Sometime after this meeting, I will be outlining because you guys are gonna be a business, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna get in easy peasy, no problem. There is probably going to be a fee associated with becoming a business. How much money you got?
Yes, I'm good. You know what I mean? I got money.
Okay. Yeah. No, you're good. I just gotta sit down and write down the flow chart for when businesses become businesses, and then we're good.
All right, just give me a call.
All right. Love you.
Except for you. Hi.
What up, good looking?
You need a mask, but you are good looking anyway. What you got cooking?
Council meeting.
Oof.
The first one.
Oh yeah, I wrote up a bunch of talking points to explain the REIT better.
Ooh.
I shared them with you already, and I shared them with Juno.
What, in case I didn't show up?
Yeah. Or in case you were late. Or in case you
Nice.
have to dip because there's a trial in an hour.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not going to dip for that. I got to be there for this whole thing. One, do you have a mask?
Do I have one? Do I need it?
No, I need one.
I have one.
Thanks,
okay,
sir.
yeah.
What's your name, dog?
This is Sebastian Birch.
Oh, wait. You look,
Hey,
you look
Sebastian.
Yeah, you look a lot different. The first time I saw you, you were wearing a Sandy vest.
Was I?
Yeah. Wasn't it?
You talking about Ableton?
Oh, shit.
You're talking about Ableton.
Two different Sebastians.
I cannot believe this is still happening to me.
Well, look, man.
I'm gonna have to kill him.
Look, I get it.
It has to happen.
Because, the last mayor was also a Max, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see
Sebastian Birch used to be a DA at one point in the Old Republic. He actually helped me work on some of the questions for Targel's case. We used to work together pretty much on like every single serial killer case back in the day.
Sick.
He was my second chair.
Awesome.
He's a good lawyer. So yeah, he's helping out with Targel.
You barred right now, dog?
I just got my bar license.
Congratulations.
Wait, you did?
Yeah.
Hi, Turtle. Nice
Fuck
suit.
yeah!
Thank God.
Hello, Max. What do you
wanna-
think of it?
If I'm just looking at your profile and I don't
very
actually see the
humanoid.
license, so you might want
Yeah, you said
Do you think I look like the
Yeah.
Rizzler?
But
You have
I've
to take
been
it out.
I'm very slowly making
No,
my
you're
way
wearing
towards
Converse, man. Those are for kids. Change your shoes.
Fair enough.
What
I
do you mean
figured
they're
I'd
for
let you know in
kids?
case the
Hey,
police-
They
what, are you,
match,
what are you,
though.
a poor kid from the Bronx, dude? Come on, man.
What are you, a witch? You got pointy shoes. Your toes even fit in there.
They're called bowling shoes, and they match my shirt and jacket.
Oh yeah, bowling
Saddlebacks.
shoes. That's
I'll
definitely
be
for
back.
people who are
They're
cool.
saddlebacks.
I'm fucking cool.
Oh yeah, what weight do you bowl? What the weight is your ball?
13.
Like 8.
No.
Yup.
Nuh-uh. Look, I gotta go to my meeting. Fuck you, Turgle. Good
Go.
luck.
Wait, aren't you a witness for my trial?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh shit.
The prosecution goes first. We have time. Don't worry about it.
Try to call me last, unless you need to call me first.
I'm calling you last. Don't worry. I'm gonna ask for a delay on the start time too.
Hi, Malton. Diogo, Malacord, Scorbnut, Fluff, Regash, Onage Potato, Tie-Dyed Bubbles, FM here, Sunbro, Jado, Nalenk, T-Man Taylor, Danny Sue. Thanks for subbing. What's the floor? 4th floor meeting room. Uh-oh.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Where'd my mask go? Oh. Why does it keep deleting my cigarette?
Hi, Xavier.
Don't forget to sign in. You better believe I'm signed in, bruh. I'm finna catch that check, fool. Skirt, skirt. Skirt, skirt. Isn't this the 3rd floor? Nah, this is the 4th floor. No, this is the 3rd floor. I can hear them talking.
Arriving, not how we were sitting. Oh, okay. That's why I'm here to stagger it.
It's okay, Dakota. Stick to your guns. I support you, brother. Manspreading ain't a real thing.
Hi.
Thank you, Chief Justice.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the line you want to go with there, Nakota. But
Hey, Max.
I do have
If
pants
Chief
on.
Justice said it, might as well commit.
Greetings.
As long as we're not sharing a bench, then we're good.
Do you have a mask on?
Yeah, hold on. I'll take it off.
Okay. I say I don't speak Azteca.
I fucking these chairs.
I believe in you. You can do
I got it. We got
There you
that.
go.
You did it.
All right, sick.
All right.
We're all here.
We did it. Good
So
job.
Nice.
congratulations everyone for making it to the inaugural council meeting of the Council of Motherfucking 8, y'all. Round of applause.
Oh, clap, clap, clap,
Clap,
clap,
clap,
clap,
clap.
Yay.
clap, clap.
All right, so I know I brought some shit to the table to propose. I don't know if you guys, show of hands, who brought some legislation possibly to pass today? Okay, we got Mr. Simone, we got Miss Juno. I think I know what Miss Juno has.
Yeah.
I also know what Mr. Simone has. What about you, Nakota? What you got?
Just some legislative changes to a couple laws on the books.
Word. Okay,
I'll just add I have some things to discuss for possible legislation for next week, depending on how we want to fit that in.
Okay, we'll do that at the end. First, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around. I mean, like I just did, and figure out who's got some shit to propose. And then we are going to propose that shit. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about it. Whoever's got something to propose, we're gonna talk about it. We're going to figure out questions. If anyone's got any questions for that particular proposal, they're gonna ask them, and then we're going to vote on it. I don't see any reason not to vote in the day. Especially if you have exhausted questions. So, why don't we start with Mr. Simone?
All right.
I'm not reading a
The
script.
first thing would be speed limit. Upping the speed limit across the board. I think we've had few talks between people. I think you brought it up as well as one of your things, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's an interest from the people, and I think there's an interest between us as well. My suggestion would be 50, 70, 90, but those are just kind of numbers
No
I
filling.
came up with on the spot, so they can obviously be changed.
I It says a general sense. I think if we're giving the people more leash, that leash should be used to hang them if they break it. I think if it gets up, I'm talking about doubling or tripling the fines for the speed related offenses.
I'm for that.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. Like if you're giving them what they want in that terms, if they keep breaking it even with more speed, sure.
I think that would also help out with lost revenue for the city. With less people speeding.
True.
Yep.
So do you guys want to double the fines for speeding and shit?
How much are we increasing them by? Like, what's it's 35, 55, 65 now?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's something that has been
75.
brought to the table more than
Hello?
once. So
The hell is that?
Hi, Brick.
Hey, I'm here to help.
Oh,
With what?
Is it 35, 55, 75 now?
Meeting.
So right now, it's
I thought I was supposed to be part of this.
by up to
No.
35 miles an hour.
What?
in excess
No,
of speed
man.
limit.
But I
It's
watched
not-
The
it's not
Watchmen, dude. I'm
limited.
like super important. I should be in here.
It's rated based on how far you exceed.
I'm saying, sorry. What's the
Look-
baseline
Also, guess what, dude?
speed
What?
in-
No warrant.
in the cities?
Good
Like
job.
35
35,
miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot what you did.
55
Oh, you
is
stabbed
for,
that guy.
Yeah, here in
county
City Hall.
roads,
Yeah,
so
that was hard.
Joshua,
With witnesses.
Route 68.
If you want to scare people off who
things
get
like
near the
that.
door, that would be tight.
And then highways.
Okay.
Anything with a
All right,
divider
I can do that.
points
Love you, Brick.
Is,
Love ya.
Bark
Bye.
at him or something.
Okay.
It was Brick, guys. He thought he was supposed to be here to watch The Watchmen.
So the way that the laws are currently structured is nope. These are actually phrased incorrectly. The old language got in here. I'm surprised no one's challenged these.
Didn't it used to be like if you were at 35, then that was it? Even if you weren't over.
Charges. Motherfucking.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, it works. It says drives in excess of the speed limit by up to 35 miles an hour.
Oh.
So the way this reads, if we upped it to 55, third degree speeding, the basic speeding charge would cover anywhere from 55 to 90. So we'd probably need to tighten the ranges on the degrees as well.
Okay. Who's taking notes here? We got Alex maybe in the back.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Okay. So yeah, we need to tighten the ranges on the speeding charges. We got to. Are we in agreement that we want to double the speed or the fines if we're going to? up
Right
the
now
speed
they're $150, $300, and $450.
That is
I think we
not
can
enough.
double that.
Yes.
Yeah.
A double, I would even say maybe triple.
I was
like
about to say, we
doubles.
could get
I think double's fine. That is a lot of money to some
Yeah,
people.
Yeah.
I guess.
Are we gonna double the amount of points that are added to the license as
I
well?
think points should be the same.
Okay.
That's all.
I have no issue. I was just asking.
yeah.
Okay, so just to recap for Alex's
Don't
sake,
speed then. Monka
up to the
Giga.
speed limits accordingly. So in the city or anywhere, it's 55. County roads or anything like that, 75, and then highways is 90. And I will adjust the ranges on the limits basically roughly to half. So right now, you can drive up to 70 miles an hour and still get a third degree speeding ticket in the city.
Does money fine charges
So
get put
it
in the
would
city
roughly
account?
change
Yeah.
now to you start off being able to drive 55 and let's say you can still only go 70, right, for third degree. So instead of having a 35 mile an hour leeway, you got like a 15. And then if you cross that threshold, let's say, so you exceed that, then that would go up another 30 miles an hour. So let's say from 70 to 85 would be second degree speeding, and then 85 and above would be first degree speeding in a 55 mile an hour zone.
Perfect. Can you amend those directly, or do we have to push this?
I can handle all that.
Okay. Sick. Yeah. So let's do a vote then. As presented with the doubling of fines, the staying the course of the points on the license, and the current values as stated for the new speeding laws. Aye.
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 All right, let's go
Just raise
clockwise
hand.
so we can
Raise hand.
so we can get this shit written down.
Aye.
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 Yep.
Aye.
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 Good job. What a good start we've got going on. Everyone's in agreement.
Very good.
This is good.
Super effective.
It's good.
That's
As an
government,
asi-
baby.
As an aside, Crane, is it possible that a councilman can get MDT so we could look at the laws while up here if we're going to be discussing this kind of stuff?
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's gonna take me a little bit, and I gotta get some info from you guys, so we'll do it afterwards. For now, I'll just reference stuff to you.
Yeah, I just meant for the future.
Yeah, no, I will. It's gonna take me a good hour or so to get it all set up. So
yeah, fair enough.
I'll shoot you guys requests for more information if I need it, but I gotta configure permissions because anyway, I'm not getting into it. Just I'll get it done. Yeah.
Let's get Ms. Juna.
Sorry, what was that?
Present thy legislation.
So the thing that I give me 1 second. Is there anything you specifically want to bring up? Because our stuff is the same.
I want you to bring up the one that you came up with.
The panic button?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So actually, I put this in a little document that I'm happy to share with everyone as well. Give me 1 second.
Throw her under the bus?
So
No.
I'm going to share this with everyone now. That should all be on your mobile phones. So it's an emergency panic button. We've had these before. You guys know what they are. If you're unfamiliar with them, Nakota, you'd be extremely familiar. Molten, you'd be familiar also.
Allowing her some responsibility equals throwing her under the bus.
The panic button is basically, we'd have a panic button installed in places like City Hall. City Hall, the hospital especially. So the way that it was previously was it was installed in restaurants.
Place C4 under the table
and nowhere else, which I thought was insane because why not restaurants and the hospital? So the question is, why can't people just 911? So yes, they obviously can, but if there is a huge threat in within a building such as City Hall, and people don't want to agitate that threat at large, the most discreet way to alert
background
the
meeting
authorities
music
would be a panic button, because it wouldn't be in visible sight
corporate
to the public.
meeting
It would have
music.
to be somewhere like under a desk. So the perfect example would be here in City Hall. It'd be under a desk, which has that glass barrier between the public and the staff, because the staff stand behind the desk. So this would then alert the authorities. And I would hope that it'd be considered a #1 priority for units to respond to.
This is licensed.
In terms of restaurants, I'm down for this to be placed in Senior Buns. However, my #1 priority is City Hall and the hospital, 100%.
Is there a charge that would currently cover if someone intentionally misuses the button?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what
Brain?
Nakota and Eda and I were talking about. I'm not entirely sure if there is, but I'd like there to
No,
be.
there is not a charge for that. There was never a charge for that related to the buttons 5 years ago.
What about misuse of 911?
I believe
Is
that's
it
the charge that people.
Yeah, 911 system. The wording sounds very
think
similar.
that's way too light for an all hands on deck button for a city hall and hospital.
Yeah.
Felony.
I'm down to up it.
Felony of hell.
Like it's so I don't have necessarily any issue with the idea. I think it's a good idea. I'm just not sure. I think we would probably need to. We could take a vote, but knowing that it would be contingent upon reaching out to city infrastructure workers,
right,
and seeing the feasibility of implementation, because I know there is a lot of things that are being worked on right now, so I don't want to this would be one that I wouldn't announce publicly until we get confirmation that it's feasible.
Of course, yeah.
And also, I get the wording in there. I don't know if we could do like amendments to legislation down the line, but I think as like a soft beta test, maybe it's only in government buildings for now, and then in a month we vote on the restaurant thing.
Yeah, I think especially if there is in the future when we have more food establishments, I think that's when
Make
we
a fart
address it,
noise
because
right now.
every motherfucker is at Senior Buns, and every crazy person's at Senior Buns as well.
Yeah, I can attest to the fact that we don't need a panic button for there to be a lot of officers there. So
true.
Right now we're there all the time.
What's up, Michael?
I just wanted to mention Kermie's here with food.
Oh.
I feel like the issue that like the stabbings at Senior Buns is because it's the only place. So people
Yeah.
get annoyed with each other. There's
Yeah.
too much like going on,
Exactly.
etc. So the second,
Say, want you
second
at the
another
meeting
place comes
still?
like pops
What?
up, I feel like it's gonna alleviate those issues.
Exactly.
It's not just
and
because it's
that's
crazy
when-
people.
Yeah, and that's when the panic button gets installed at the restaurants, because at that point it's like we don't have the excuse of, well, people are going to call 911 regardless, because I'm assuming that they
literally
do
don't
Dakota
remember.
when shit pops off at Senior Buns because everyone's there.
Yeah.
Glenny Balls and Lodge. Thank you for something.
I can vouch for at least how useful this would be within the hospital. I know that we have had pretty
No
continuous
dick cord
issues of
ping?
911s
Wrong?
getting missed. I'm assuming not ignored. I wouldn't want to assume that, but very often if we try to call for help, people do not show. So that'd be very useful for us.
Panic button. I'd like the panic button to. I don't know what the dispatch system is like now. But I would like the panic button to show up just like an alpha would.
Yep. So again, that might be something we have to talk to the Chief Justice about, because as the dispatch
Blows
system
nose.
is in place right now, even if say I went down and I alpha'd, it pops up on dispatch, but there is no, like, you remember how it used to be Juno and Malton? It is not like that anymore. There's no accompanying emergency noise along with the dispatch alert that someone has gone down.
Why don't we just vote on the idea, at least, for panic buttons in the government facilities, and we could worry about the kinks of implementation if and when that happens.
And I have a suggestion too about things like this. So when there are things that will obviously require feasibility checks, I think we should do, like Malton said, like an interest vote, just on the idea basis. And then once we get a confirmation of interest from the city council,
I don't know how to mute my phone.
Then that's sort of the impetus for it to be brought forth and checked on the feasibility side.
Got it. I wasn't trying to throw water on it. I was just,
No. It
bell.
definitely, this is the kind of idea where I don't want to vote on it or announce it because, it could take months and then we're delivering something we can't, or we're promising something we can't deliver. So
true.
Okay.
All in favor of interest vote?
Government facilities, aye.
Anyone not in favor? Let's do that. All right. The ayes have it. From unanimous
we'll bring
vote.
it forward for feasibility, and I'll get back to you guys with what I hear.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Nakota.
By the way, I have just put in the speeding legislation. I'm writing it now so that we can announce that after the meeting.
Excellent.
Holy shit! All right.
Mr. Nakota, what dost thou bringeth to thine council of 8 table?
All right. First thing I have on my notes. Has anyone had a run-in where their vehicle has been booted, or I found another term for this was clamped?
No.
I have heard of it being talked about, but no, it hasn't happened to me.
Okay, so these are devices that people are attaching to tires, which, as far as I'm aware, they render the vehicle unmovable. But people are doing it without any legal backing or authority to use. As far as we have been led to believe, the only people that should be using this are on-duty tow workers. So I am proposing something along the lines of, now again, talk about it, but the wording I will probably need a little bit of help with, but criminal use of a boot or a clamp. This would entail, it's unlawful for you to place a boot on a vehicle, boot or clamp on a vehicle if you are not an on-duty tow worker. I also have 2 stipulations on what vehicles can and can't be clamped, which would be it must be unoccupied and it must be illegally parked.
Sounds good to me.
Where do you
And
get
can't be
these
used
from?
on
Is it-
emergency vehicles.
Correct. Yeah, my third one is I will ask for EMS and law enforcement vehicles to be exempt. However, for the law enforcement portion of it, if someone is abusing their right to park their emergency vehicle where they want, I think that should be subject to some kind of review if people are just being morons about it, as opposed to we're responding to something in an emergency and we just need to park a certain way to get there. I think EMS should get full carte blanche on it, though. I don't think you should be clamping an ambulance ever.
True. I mean, I think if the police are abusing it, that sounds like an internal issue, or in an extreme case, if it's rampant, maybe the civilian oversight board.
Mm-hmm. I have no problem with that.
Where do you get these things? Is it from like tow services?
Correct.
Yes.
So would it be too broad to have it be named misuse of tow services or something like that? So therefore, like for example, as well, you could add in emergency vehicles being towed without reason. Or is that too broad?
Could be too broad. There could be other reasons why other people would be able to do this, or any sort of like
Raffle, I have
isn't a tow worker like
So I've had this brought to me just several times actually now as like a legal question. What the answer I've given, and this isn't binding, I'm just telling you this is what I've told people who have come to me and said, either one, I worked in towing and I have the ability to buy these boots, can I use them? Or two, someone boots my car, can they do that? The answer I've given is that the only time I can see it being legally viable to boot a car would be either one, if it's parked on private property. So say I own like, Grove Street 10 and somebody parks their car on my lawn. I see no reason why you can't boot that car because it's abandoned property left on your property. That being said, the only other time I could really foresee it being legal is if you are
stuck on their property.
a tow worker and you are called to do a tow in a high traffic, high volatility area, let's say in front of Senor Buns.
Out of spite.
And you're worried about by the time you park the car and get out, someone's going to try to get in the car and drive it away. In that case, I could understand the justification of temporarily booting the car while you put the truck in position, get it loaded and all that kind of shit.
Lamau.
But I don't know. I think there's a whole legal fucking wormhole of allowing people to use these boots because, shit, in most places to operate a tow truck, you need like licensing and insurance and all that kind of shit. Here, we're an emerging economy, right? So we're just letting anybody drive a tow truck as long as, they sign in with the right guy.
Right.
So I'm kind of wary of giving any random Joe just the ability to go around booting cars. I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
I feel like there should be like some kind of documentation before they use these things, like photographs.
I was actually going to suggest that. Yeah, that's
Well, they're supposed to do that anyway, right? Like
they're supposed to, but they don't.
So legally, the tow process, and I'm working on this as well, but legally the tow process is supposed to be that someone not involved in the tow truck who ends up taking the call marks a car, and then another person gets the call in the tow truck and then tows the car. So when they return it to the lot,
this is
the
Bobby
lot
Charles.
logs the state IDs of the person who marked the car and the person who towed the car. They're supposed to be separate. They're not supposed to be the same person. That would be fraud, basically.
Right.
And then on top of that, the person who marks the car and the person who tows the car are supposed to take pictures so that they can prove, if they're later sued in court by the owner, that the car was indeed parked illegally. So I don't really know what I don't know how to implement
this,
the
rob
boot
a
in a way
bank!
that
True.
isn't already there, but that doesn't cause a bunch of headaches.
Gun time.
I see.
I'm open to ideas. It's something I've struggled with.
I mean, you could carte blanche say, instead of like saying boot is legal except for, you could say the boot is illegal to use and it's only legal in these narrow circumstances, such as on your own property, a towing company may have a contract with the business, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most prudent way to go about it, but I'll leave it to you guys on the language because, like I said, I've been up, down, left, and right on this thing, and I ain't come to a good solution yet.
Yeah, that's really difficult. That's what I generally mark cars for tow when they've like on sidewalks as I'm walking to work. So
yeah. Does someone parking on your front lawn qualify as illegal parking then? I feel like it would.
Yeah.
It's your property.
Parking
Private
violation.
property, yeah.
I feel like most
not
of
even
these
that.
boots
It's
are
just
used in bad
it's
faith.
abandoned property on your private property.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
any property that's left on your property is classified as abandoned or trespassing at the very least. So you control what's on your yard.
Burn, burn,
Would it be benefit? Sorry, go ahead, Malton.
No, I was gonna say if I'm just spitballing here, and maybe only those in the judiciary or former cops may know about it, where it could be something styled in the form of the old Ravens regulations, like the burglary law, where if you put a boot on it, it's on you to prove that the boot was legally able to be put on.
Delete this.
Instead of the onus being on someone to prove that it was illegal.
I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Would we attach prongs to the law where it's like
Yeah,
these
so
things
it'd be
need to be
like-
satisfied in order for
Yeah,
it
it'd
to
be like
qualify?
in order to legally make use of a restrictive boot on a vehicle, you must be one, operating a contracted, tow truck or operating on your own private property. Two, you must be securing the vehicle for tow within a reasonable amount of time, which allows, again, people to argue what a reasonable amount of time is, so it's good for court. And then finally, you must argue the circumstances or exigency that required the use of the boot, aka why couldn't you just tow the car?
Yeah, I think that's a good baseline, and we could always adjust it as needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've really been on
Then
tow
stipulating
trucks for a while. Huh?
EMS and law enforcement, they're waived from having their vehicles booted.
Comfy Sweater, thanks for subbing.
So that's an interesting one. You guys are exempt from all parking regulations as long as you have your lights on.
That is true.
So why wouldn't we
Um,
just stick with that? Isn't that just easier?
Yeah. Like I said, any misuse
I
of
hate
that
to
is an
be,
internal PD thing. So
I hate to be harsh, Nakota, but
You're not being harsh. I don't think
if you
so.
can't remember to turn your fucking lights on, then maybe you should get your car towed.
I do not
Fair.
disagree with you. I don't disagree with that.
The only problem I have, and I hate to use this kind of an argument, but if a cop car goes into an impound, is it still a real piece of crap to try to get that thing out because it's not tied to an owner? That's
Ooh.
Is that a concern right now? I don't know.
I'm asking Dakota. Are these still tied to a state ID 0? And
Yeah, they're state account owned, I believe.
Yeah.
So then we probably
Okay,
exempt
yeah.
for the time being because that's beyond
Yeah.
their control.
Yes.
And
I
I just
mean,
want to, I just want to clarify: if people are going to be morons, I agree. If you're going to, if your excuse for a PD member is, I was going to an emergency call, your lights and sirens should be on anyway. So when you pull up to the scene, it should not matter if you run out of your vehicle straight away. I'm just trying to give people the benefit
I'm
of the doubt
cleaning me
to begin with.
glasses.
But if people are going to be morons, then I have no sympathy for them.
Are police getting their own cars anytime soon? Dakota? I'm just trying to think for in the future. Maybe we could make it more restrictive towards. But
That's a good time for me to make a small announcement. So
okay.
I've clarified this with the treasurer and the mayor already. Make sure. I mean, this is a good time as any to get y'all filled in. So, up until the last 2 or 3 days, all government salaries, including PD, EMS, anybody you can think of that requires authorization to sign into their job.
Even lawyers, inexplicably.
All of those salaries are being subsidized by the federal government. As of 2 or 3 days ago, the federal government found it fit that we have succeeded well enough with Mrs. Wright's help in sort of getting ourselves solvent with the state account.
We gotta.
Such that
I don't like the
we are
federal
now going
government
to pay our own way.
Because wouldn't we be
So
the federal
all
government?
salaries,
'Cause we
including
don't-
welfare checks,
we don't belong
DOC,
to, like,
PD, anything you can think of that has a government paycheck, now comes
a
directly out of
larger
the state
state?
account.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Holy
as a result of that,
Yeah.
Like, are we
we are
American?
now going to enter, after discussion with the mayor and the treasurer, into a feeling out period over the next couple weeks, where we're going to track the trend of the state account. And as we hire more people,
Territory
and
like
as we
PR?
spend money,
Okay.
we see if we're actually in the positive or not. If we start trending down, then we'll need to, figure out money-making incentives, things like that. So that being said, and the reason I bring this up now is that large-scale purchases like the EMS helicopter, the PD vehicles, and all that are a no-go for now until we figure out how the state account is trending. Because if we make a very large investment right now into something like a $8-10 million helicopter or a fleet of PD cars, and then it turns out we're trending negative in a large way, we could be screwed. So
Understood.
that's the sort of grim news for today.
Follow up. So no one owns the cop cars, right?
No,
They're all
Yes.
state owned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys been modifying your cars at all? Can you?
That is a command issue, but we have been getting them repaired, and we have recently started replacing the engines, which were the only component of the vehicle that were not able to be repaired back to like showroom
From my
status.
conversations with Slacks, Mayor, I don't think they're in a position yet to be upgrading the cars.
Why not?
I was informed that they were possibly adding turbos to the cars. I
They're,
don't know what that
they're
does,
testing
but-
them, and those are
Oh,
being
okay.
Testing to
tested
see if it-
independently.
There's some issues with how they're owned, with whether or not those upgrades would stick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the best way I can put it. So we can discuss that offline.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what you guys are gonna have to do though for now. I would highly recommend looking into fleshing that out, especially if you're having trouble catching people on the street right now.
Yeah, it's almost impossible for them to keep up with some of the cars out there.
Yeah.
They're recording cars going 170, 180, and it's just
What?
impossible
Yeah.
for the CVPIs to keep up. Yeah, that's.
Huh.
Sorry, Dakota. This is just from Sean telling me, but
No,
yeah.
I mean
it's-
you're not saying anything that I haven't experienced, so you're
Yeah.
preaching to the choir.
For the record, I think that it's very likely that PD upgrades could be within the budget, even with the trending situation. From talking to Miss Treasure over there, but again, we need to get with Slacks and figure out the feasibility of how that's even going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
I am not for the police department receiving any state funds for the purpose of car modifications, because you guys make a lot of fucking money and you can pay for that shit yourself, dog. I'm gonna be real.
I don't disagree with him. I heard Cornwood bragging about having like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So
yeah.
How the hell
I
does
talked
he
to-
have
I talked-
hundreds of thousands?
I talked to
They
Kid
earn
Archer the other day. She said she had $80,000 in her bank account, dog. Like,
Yeah,
come
I
on,
fucking
like, come
wish
on,
I
dog.
had that. That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Dakota, how much money you got?
Well, with all due respect, I currently have $90,000 in my personal
Oh,
bank
yeah,
account.
I don't have
but
that
that's
much.
because
Correct.
I've worked 15 to 17-hour shifts since day one.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I'm
I don't
accepting
own a
donations.
car. I
Same.
yeah, like
I might be-
it's
I might
because
be
I have
broke
literally
as-
worked my fucking ass off.
Am I the
So
brokest one here?
Yeah, I have just
I have
under like
$43,000
60
in
grand,
one
but I
order.
work 8 hours 6 days a week.
All right.
mm.
Yeah. I don't think we should spend state money on that for now. I would be interested in spending state money on in the future, like Crane said, purchasing new vehicles, right? But like in terms of like upgrading and shit, no, I don't think so.
What about them buying their own vehicles?
Yeah, can
like
they do
used
that?
to?
That's what I was asking for the towing regulations.
That's
stuff.
part of the conversations I'm having with Slacks.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because if I'm can put my 2 cents out, if I'm buying my own vehicle, I've absolutely no issue modifying it with my own money, because at that point it's my own property,
And I
as long
think-
as
I
it's
think
within
that's
legal
probably the
limits,
most
right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, surely cops wouldn't steal from each other, right? Right?
Surely not.
I don't think so.
Surely.
I wouldn't.
Oh, you mean like the vehicles? Okay.
Well, every car in that motor pool should have some turbo then. You know what I'm saying?
I think we need some paint too to put our call signs on the top, because that's still an issue.
Oh,
Yeah,
Try to
there's
sort
there's
that
a
out.
whole lot being worked on.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you guys will get a mechanic internally, and then it'll all be sorted.
All right.
As far as the towing stuff, I mean, do we want to just vote on
Yeah, the
like
boots.
the boot stuff that we just talked about, and make the judiciary can like work on the wording of it?
Any nays? All right, the ayes have it. Good work.
All right, I'll draft something and I'll circulate it to you guys for feedback.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to propose? Because I've got a lot of shit that I need to propose, and I just want to get everything else out of the way.
I have more.
I
You
have one
have more?
thing. Oh, go ahead.
Yes. Oh. I would like to make an amendment to the brandishing of a non-firearm charge. As it stands, the wording, let me get it for you.
Unlawful for you to draw or exhibit a deadly weapon in a rude, angry, or threatening way in the presence of another person and not in defense of self or others.
Correct. So very often we will show up on a scene somewhere and someone will be running around with a knife in hand.
It's
and
Reed. Reed
they'll
does
be.
that.
He's not the only one, but yes,
Yeah.
that's one person I'm thinking
lots
of.
of people do. Yeah.
Yep.
And they run around the whole time and they say, I'm not threatening anyone. I'm not threatening anyone. I'm not threatening anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I think I made the argument to somebody that if you replace the knife with a gun, people would probably feel a lot more strongly about it. However, I do want to just add one line, something along the lines of displaying a non-firearm deadly weapon in a public place without legal reason. And then it is unlawful for you to draw or exhibit the deadly weapon in a rude, angry, or threatening way in the presence of another person and not in self-defense of others. I don't know how anyone feels about that.
I just want to play like penetration tester here for a second.
Yep.
What if I'm smart aleck criminal number 437 and I see this legislation change and I just decide that instead of carrying a knife, I'm just going to carry a pipe wrench because you can't claim that it's a deadly weapon all the time? Doesn't that kind of defeat the whole law?
Talked about it as well. Like, it's obviously not. It's a work weapon. I mean, it's a weapon you use at work, right?
Yeah. Why the fuck would someone be carrying a pipe wrench around like Senior Buns?
They shouldn't. That's the thing. Like, they shouldn't.
Yeah, but how do we regulate that under calling it a weapon? You can't unanimously guarantee or declare every tool to be a weapon. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's the issue. Yeah.
If someone's walking around with
Sure
like a non-firearm out, can you just hit them with like disturbing the peace or something, or is that too strict a definition?
No, it doesn't qualify. It's too strict.
I mean, isn't it circumstantial? Like, it's all entirely circumstantial. If someone's walking around with a pipe wrench down the road with no other tools on their person,
that's why the rude, angry, or threatening is in there, is because you're trying to quantify or qualify an action that by itself is innocuous.
My stance is I like the definition being that way because it makes for interesting court arguments.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And trust me, I've heard this. I've had people come to me and say, you know, why doesn't this work? And I can see arguments for it both ways.
What do you guys think about it is unlawful for you to draw or exhibit a potentially deadly weapon?
Oh, good lord.
That could be anything.
That could be a shoe, you know, like
that could be my MTT right here too.
Hold on a second. I will cite to one Delver Lee, who entered the city hall some 6 years ago when he first moved here, and requested to me no less than 30 times in the span of 1 hour that I write on his profile that his hands are declared as a deadly weapon because he is trained in several forms of martial arts. So in terms of that language, sir, that's going to be a no.
He's rated. His hands are rated E for everybody.
I think as it stands now, if someone's like, I'm not threatening people, I think it's part of this law already kind of like covers that. And that's the, you know, it is pretty unanimously rude to hold a knife or a pipe wrench in a public place.
Yeah, I think cops could articulate. I think cops
Mm-hmm.
could articulate it. I agree with Malton. I think it allows for interesting arguments, and also, let's be honest, right? It's 5 months, $190. That's less than a third-degree speeding ticket at this point in terms of the fine.
Yeah.
True.
So I feel like if the person's actually doing something wrong and they're being a ne'er-do-well, you could probably get them on something else that's more impactful. And if they're not, you know, then maybe just let shitheads be shitheads.
Yeah. Okay. The thing I will say against the speed, well, it's not just Reed. The thing I will say about the brandishing is I get way more people trying to be forehead, 900 IQ with the brandishing charge than I ever have a speeding charge.
Really?
Well, then stack the shit out of them on other charges and show them you're cleverer than they are.
Yeah, fuck them
Tell
up.
them to put it away. And
I'm not much of a
bang
stacker.
if they don't, and then you.
Well, maybe you should learn to fight fire with fire, Dakota.
It's time to embrace the petty Nicole.
Can I ask one question then, Chief Justice?
Can I refer you, Dakota, to improper lane change, failure to use a turn signal?
Yes.
We call that the Matt Rhodes doctrine.
Yep. And I'm gonna tell you the one that I observed. The true Matt Rhodes effect is you pull someone over for failure to use a turn signal, you issue them the ticket, and then when you tell them they're free to go and they merge back onto the road, you hit them again if they don't use the turn signal to merge back into the road, leaving the ticket.
Yep.
That's called a twofer right there.
Okay. But my question about the brandishing a non-firearm is:
Do you think that would be illegal under like double?
Is there
jeopardy?
any subjectivity in rude, angry, or threatening if you're the person viewing the individual with the weapon out and you feel threatened by it?
No, so
I got food.
Courts use what's called a reasonable person test when developing things that are quote unquote subjective. So it doesn't go to the individual because, for example, some people are scared of clowns. Some people are scared of
two separate
men
instances.
with face
Well, if the cop
tattoos,
says
you know,
you're free to
receding
go,
hairlines. Some people are scared of, you know.
wouldn't it be an
well,
extension
really
of that? If
so
like they hit
can't,
you like that
know,
immediately
necessarily
afterwards,
do it off that. It has to be the
'Cause
generalized
you're
reason.
leaving the area as courtesy of being told to leave the area, right?
All right, noted.
I am one with the desk.
Oh my God,
I am the
me
desk
too.
man.
This is terrible.
You're all right. Just stop what you're doing. You'll be fine.
Oh, yes.
I think you should commit to it. It's your life now.
Okay. Are we? So what's the haps on this one?
I'm gonna be a no on changing that one. I think
Yeah,
it's
no,
good
keep
as
the
is.
definition the same.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Make them pay in other ways.
Who are we at? You got more, Dakota?
I got one.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Michael.
Well, we had to talk about this as well.
Yeah,
this is
go
gonna be
ahead.
this is gonna be one that is kind of interesting. The mask mandate 2.0.
Wow.
Huh.
What do you think?
Okay.
What the
It's the
fuck?
same
What the
thing,
fuck's the
or is
mask
it-
mandate, yo?
The mask mandate was.
Well, let
if
us tell you a story.
Yeah.
Please.
It's basically, go on, Dakota. You can probably explain this better than me.
So from my perspective, many years ago, there used to be a mandate in effect that stated that if you wore a mask, if you wore a mask in a public place,
Not for health purposes, right?
No, it didn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't.
Yep.
What?
It
Yeah,
did
we
not
didn't
matter.
have, like,
Everyone would
cop
claim it
notes
was
or
for health
anything. It didn't
purposes.
matter.
Yeah.
Let's be
Oh, yeah, I
honest.
see.
It has to be
Okay.
everybody.
So if you were wearing a mask in a public place, you were subject, and not in your own vehicle, you were subject to stop, be identified, remove the mask, and frisk by any PD member anytime. And
Basically,
that
gang members wore their shit everywhere, and we had to set a policy to stop them from acting like assholes in public.
Is that a problem right now, Dakota?
I am seeing more and more people wearing masks every day. However, like Michael brought it up, I would like to see it re-implemented, but to a different degree that doesn't involve police officers being stabbed, shot, or run over with a vehicle every time they try to institute it.
What's the suggestion then?
Michael, would you like to?
Well, removing the frisk part, it's not unreasonable to ask somebody to stop and then remove their mask so you can identify them. I would say.
So basically, they could still be stopped. They could still be identified. They have to provide that ID, and if they don't, that's when it opens them up to disobeying a peace officer.
Yes.
Correct.
Is there a charge for failure to identify?
It would be disobeying if they
So
don't.
Yeah, we are
'Cause
not a
okay.
stop and ID state as of yet.
Okay.
So I think that was the issue previously, was that even if the person stopped, identified themselves, and removed the mask, then the officers would still push for a frisk.
Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
where the issue, like,
Mhm.
that's when the
Yeah.
violence would happen.
Correct.
Because there
Yeah.
would be those officers that would love to push the line.
Yeah, they
so.
would just constantly push. With me, the thing that I did was literally, hey, like remove your mask, or I'm gonna have to frisk you and remove that mask. They'd usually just remove the mask, I'd ID them, and they'd be on their way.
Yeah. And that's how it was intended to go. But,
I'm
classic
fine
people
with-
taking advantage.
Yeah, I'm fine with the concept if we remove the question I would have, and this is be a police procedural standpoint, is what happens when a smart criminal, 24 or whatever, says I don't have an ID, or you can't reasonably ID him. Does that open him up to be taken down to MRPD for fingerprinting?
I would vote no.
No.
So then what happens if they say they don't have an ID on them?
I believe we all have
So-
digital ID, don't we, on our phone?
No.
That's not
I don't
forged.
think a digital ID is. I don't think a digital ID should be.
I'm not grumbling because the idea of pulling your phone out. I just think it's a slippery slope. If I haven't done anything wrong, and there's not a public safety justification to wearing a mask being linked to violence, then I'm hard pressed to understand why the police powers come into effect, right? So one of the key principles of a free society is that you should be able to travel freely without, interference from law enforcement, unless you are, breaking a law, right? So using the public roadways and getting pulled over for a ticket, failing to signal, jaywalking, right? But if I'm completely legally walking down the road and I happen to be wearing, a face covering, and there's no public interest about violence being associated with face coverings or gangs or whatever, right? Then I'm hard pressed to understand why I should grant the police the ability to identify somebody.
Okay. I can see that, honestly.
Yeah, that's
but I mean, like, yeah. So, like, walking into a bank with a mask on.
Yeah, I mean, look,
That's
where it started. That's where it started.
Juan Miguel and Harold
example,
and
yeah.
Booze Lord and
People
Von
walking into
Killington and
because
Breezer. Thanks for subbing.
People went into banks wearing masks, and there was a time where they were fiddling with the security systems, and they wanted to be able to run away unidentified if police showed up. But I think we're kind of putting the cart before the horse, right? Like, I don't think there's been anything that's occurred that would justify this action. If anything, I think we'd just be alienating the public and kind of, burning some political capital that I think we really need right now.
I kind of agree. The only time this will really become useful is if you're trying to identify someone you believe has a warrant or something. And then in that case, they're probably still just going to try to kill you. So it brings us back to what you're trying to avoid, which is cops getting run over, shot, whatever the hell.
I don't know.
In
I
most
think
cases,
it could be a viable thing, but I wouldn't be comfortable putting my name on a vote until we had something to say to the public. Here's why I voted for it, because of this extreme public crisis, right? Because then, back in the day when the mask mandate got put in, it was very easy for me to say to civilians, look, we put it in because, hell, this will stop you from getting, kidnapped just for walking on the street by a gang full of people wearing bandanas in a car or whatever.
I guess my question to Dakota is, you said you're seeing a lot of people. Is that causing problems for you all in the police, or is it just
I mean, not
liking it?
I guess not being able to identify people in the
Already asked
commission of
that
a crime because
immediately.
they have a mask on would be
but
the
if they're
issue.
committing a crime, are they then just going to show you their ID? Like, I think at that point, they're already committed to the crime.
It's an iffy thing, though, because if people wearing a mask and just walking around using that mask as their cover, if they have a hunch, if the cops have a hunch that somebody committed a crime, asking them for their ID and to take off the mask is going to force them into either a fight or flight mode. They will run off and try to hide, or they will do what they're always going to do and pull a knife or a gun. I'm fine with putting this on the back burner. It was just something we thought about.
No, I think it's a good suggestion once we get a justification, is my concern.
Let's review this in the last couple of weeks in our tenure.
Okay, that works.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
So no need to vote on that. There is something I wanted to talk about in the realm of voting. What do you guys think about making our voting records public?
Oh, I already said they were going to be, by the way.
Excellent. I love that.
I said that I was going to invite Ursula to the meetings to record and or take notes.
Well, I was also.
I don't know. I never got around to it because I got busy with some other shit.
How do you guys feel about press conferences?
I don't like the idea of meetings being recorded, but the results I think is fair.
Yeah, I think a press conference after the fact would be great, just because
Yeah.
sometimes we may have to discuss certain to
Slice
be that
Memes, thanks for
person,
subbing.
weird.
Intangibles. Yeah. I
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah,
That's
weird
fair. Yeah.
conversations. So
My idea with like press conferences, like the whole, I've always found them quite appealing, and it's always been something that I think when I was in the PD it lacked a lot of was that communication with the public, and state announcements and stuff are great.
That's a nice
but,
ceiling, Teddy. Thanks.
I think a press
you
conference
jork
would be
into
really
that
cool
shit?
to really like actually show that communication being physical, like face to face. But that might just be a me thing rather than like an overall thing.
I don't mind either way. I'm fine with feeding Ursula the TLDR after the meeting of the outcomes so she can publish them and make people aware. I'm also fine with a press conference. I mean, I won't participate because I don't really like, the fucking cameras and shit, but I'm happy either way.
Yeah, I mean, if we're like taking a vote or discussing it, I don't. There shouldn't be any cameras or anyone, let's say, unaffiliated, like in this room here. But like the results of it and our votes, I think should be public information.
So is this officially written down somewhere? That the voting record of the Council of 8 will be publicly available and published?
No, it was just something that when I was formulating with the federal government, I made clear that it was meant to be public. It was meant to be, the action should not be, hidden and secret.
Okay, so let's all vote on this then so that we can get it in and written down somewhere for people to see. Any nays? All right, the ayes have it. Excellent.
I have an idea for something that's almost like two birds, one stone. I think obviously this stuff should be accessible in the MTT here at City Hall. But I think another option would be with the DOJ app. There could be a tab, so obviously you could see in the DOJ app which judges and whatnot.
What DOJ app?
Well, in the future, a DOJ app.
Sorry.
I mean, we need a DOJ app.
let's get one first, and then we can talk about
first.
editing.
Yeah, no, I
That's
was
a good
just gonna
idea.
suggest that it'd be cool if we could have like legislation changes in that tab of that app, but also it could state like what things have been voted on as well. Obviously that's for the future, but it's just an idea to toss in there.
Excellent idea.
That could also be the thing like yesterday, Max, where we record state announcements.
Yeah. I was gonna tack onto that. Because I think Crane's the first person who mentioned a DOJ app to me. Right? Was it you?
Yeah.
Okay, so we, Etta, me, and everyone else realized that having a section of that app to essentially record state announcements for people who were not around to hear or see them would be a good idea, and also a new legislation tab.
Yeah, so I'm on my phone here talking to the technician, and it seems like the plan is to add a report category in the MDT, one for state announcements and one for city council documents. So I would give you guys access to the city council documents, which means prior to coming to the meetings and throughout the week, whenever you get proposals finished, you could throw a draft proposal in there so we could review before we get here, so the meetings could be shorter because we'll all have reviewed the material a little better. And second, we have a record of our decisions as well as the outcomes, which can then be published.
Okay, and then people
in
can
terms of
just
the
look it
app,
up on the
I'm just
public
gonna-
one.
I'm just going to tell you right now, it's hard enough to get the app actually done. I don't think we're going to get the functionality you're talking about.
Well,
Okay.
if they can at least look it up at the front desk,
Yeah,
like,
oh yeah, it'll be
then,
public
yeah,
MDT.
it'll still be something that they can access.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
I will work with the technician on that stuff.
Bless them. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone else have anything else that they would like to propose currently?
I got to bring up one thing. I'm not proposing it necessarily. It's something that, and I've talked to Max about this a little bit. There are going to be some things from time to time that were intended to be codified in law, but just haven't had the chance to become yet. One of those things is
I need some socks, dude. My feet
weight
be
systems
cold.
for the trucking industry. So one of the
Yes.
things regulations wise that is going to be emerging is there will be a commercial driver's license that the clerks will issue. This will allow people to legally drive, 18-wheelers, things like that. So the Grime, Pounder, the Packer, the larger Group 6 vehicles. And part of that is there will be tickets going in for being overweight. Right now, there is no regulatory system for the trucking system. So essentially, they can just load up with, to the brim with boxes, be completely unsafe, and there's no punishment outside the normal speeding regulation. So
Actually,
I don't know.
this
I don't know when that's actually going to be implemented, but I'm working on it now with PD and with the folks that handle the truck regulations.
Is that so? Would that also classify the giant armored Group 6 trucks? Because I was almost
Yes.
murdered
Yes,
crossing
the
a
group-
crosswalk yesterday by one of
anything
those.
that is going to
running
be
a red
classed as a
light.
commercial vehicle. So,
Okay.
Box trucks.
I'm not AFK,
with
dude.
multiple suspensions, etc. I don't know vehicle terms. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
So
Yeah, we get you.
Great. You're suggesting that you're essentially going to be adding a new charge for this.
So, yeah, it was always intended to be the case, but we're still working on some of the MDT functionality to getting the license established.
Oh, okay.
So and I'm also trying to work with PD to make sure that they are properly trained on how to estimate the weight of the truck.
Right.
By looking at the suspension, how low it's riding, things like that. So once those things are figured out, then several charges will be implemented, which will be traffic citations, essentially. So PD will have the authority to, much like a weigh station, right? They can stop a commercial truck and just say, hey, I'm just going to check your load. Looks like you're riding a little low, that kind of thing. And then they'll be able to do a spot check on the vehicle. If it is overweight, the person will get an infraction, points, and there will be some kind of strike system against the commercial license. So if someone is abusing the weight regulations and skirting them, and they do so in a prolific manner, then their commercial license can be revoked, and they will be suspended from driving the larger vehicles for a short period of time.
Good.
I like that.
But again, this is all like, I got a bunch of coordination to do with a bunch of folks, and it's not going to go in tomorrow. This is maybe a couple weeks out.
Is this like a huge problem? Is like a safety issue? Like where's this coming from?
Yeah, safety issue.
Safety issue, and also the intent. The contracts that the government has with these state-sponsored companies in the rebuilding phase. We're allowing companies like Grime to operate in the state and to employ people, and there needs to be some kind of oversight and regulation of their
It's literally
activities.
your
Right now,
job.
it's kind of the Wild West. You'd get a semi truck from your
flying
boss down
around
at
everywhere.
the docks, and then drive up to Sandy and load it up till there's packages falling out the back, and no one has any say about it.
And flying down the road at ridiculously high speeds, carrying that much weight, they're literally just going to murder people.
Yeah, I see people
So,
drifting
combination.
in 6 trucks.
Yeah,
Same.
it's
Crazy.
absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I just have one question. If they're going to be specialty licenses, does that mean if they get pulled over while they're on duty, they'll be getting points on the specialty license?
There will be some kind of strike system for that license.
Yes.
Okay, and if they
so instead of for example, hypothetically, what's been discussed so far with the people who run Grime would be if the person with a commercial license is caught overweight, a strike would go on their MDT profile, and if they received X number of strikes, their commercial license would be suspended.
Rain Booms, thanks for subbing.
period of
Vivek,
time.
thanks for 55 subs.
Okay.
Braddock, thanks for
And
subbing.
that would be in
Delando, thanks for
cooperation
subbing.
with
Slipsy, thanks for
Grime.
subbing.
So if the person goes down there and tries to start up a contract to go take a 18-wheeler up to Polito, they would not be allowed to. They would have to literally go to drive the little speedster vans around.
How do you determine the weight limit?
So that's what I'm working on with PD. Grime has internal regulations, so there's a certain amount of weight that is like the maximum the truck can handle before it basically the axle snaps.
Yeah, I've done Grime.
Right. So There will be training for PD so that they can approach the vehicle from the side, inspect the suspension, and they'll be able to estimate the weight. And if there's, let's say, reasonable suspicion that the truck's overweight based on how low it's riding, then they would have the legal authority to open up the back and inspect, the amount back there.
Yeah, Mayor, I can tell you that I was at the old city vault the other day as one of those giant Group 6 vans was being unloaded.
Mm-hmm.
And every time they take a pallet out, you can physically see the truck coming
lift.
up. Yeah, in real time.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if you guys are aware of that or not. Yeah, you can visibly
No.
identify how low something is riding.
So if it's dragging on the
Wow.
ground, it's probably got a lot of stuff in it.
So these trucks are
Okay.
like actually scraping when they go over speed
Correct.
bumps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's crazy. Okay.
All right.
I just know you made a hell of a lot for me.
Let's take a 5-minute break before we get into the 10 things that I need to talk to you guys about.
Ooh.
All right.
I gotta use the bathroom, so.
Smoke them if you got them.
Anything.
I too have more stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up some things. Nothing's concrete.
Oh, good.
just kind of discussion stuff.
I'll go last.
Okay.
Because my shit's kind of dense.
All right.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
Don't use my office, Max.
Yeah, maybe.
Max? Oh, no.
Uh-oh. You got a mouse train.
Wait 2 minutes, please. See, I keep asking if anyone's got anything else they want to talk about, and like, there's always like one person like, actually, you know what I'm saying? Like, instead of like having stuff prepared beforehand. So, a couple of people ago, I was supposed to be presenting stuff already. I'm worried about the turtle case. Somehow Moon's the most prepared. I'm the most prepared because I've got people like Siobhan and people like it's literally just Siobhan actually who are like literally like there doing it. So and Johnny, yep. I'll be right back. 1 sec.
notte giorno di torno girando, delle belle turbando al riposo, ma ci situato giro d'amor. Delle belle turbando al riposo, ma ci situato giro d'amor. Non più avrai questi bei panacchini, quel cappello leggero galante, quella chioma, quell'aria brillante, quel vermiglio d'onesco color, quel vermiglio d'onesco color. Non più avrai quei pennacchini, quel cappello, quella chioma, quell'aria brillante. Non più drai farfalloni amoroso, notte e giorno di torno girando, delle belle turbando al riposo, ma ci situato giro d'amor. Delle belle turbando al riposo, ma ci situato giro d'amor. Fra guerrieri può far pacco, grande stacchi stretto sacco, schioppo in spalla, sciabla a fianco, collo dritto, muso franco, un gran casco, un gran turbante, molto onor, poco cantante, poco cantante, poco cantante. Ed invece del fandango una marcia per il fango, per montagne, per valloni, con le nevi e salioni, al concerto di tromboni, di bombarde e di cannoni, che le porre tutti i tuoni all'orecchio fan fischiar. Non più avrai quei pennacchini, non più avrai quel cappello, non più avrai quella chioma, non più avrai quell'aria brillante, non più avrai farfalloni amoroso, notte e giorno di torno girando, delle belle turbando al riposo, ma ci situato giro d'amor. Delle belle turbando al riposo, ma ci situato giro d'amor. Cherubino alla vittoria, alla gloria militar. Cherubino alla vittoria, alla gloria militar. Alla gloria militar, alla gloria militar.
What's good, players? Runs. Shanks Theory, Caltheon, Chesky, and Coppery Foil Program File, Shulward, Steve, thanks for subbing. Go for Ditch Digger, thanks for subbing.
Worried that, you know, someone you would pick up like a trash bag and run it and then like have their DNA on file then.
Law enforcement may collect DNA from individuals arrested for violent felony crimes without a warrant. Law enforcement may request a warrant for collection of a subject DNA.
God damn it.
If law enforcement has probable cause that
Good enough.
committed crimes.
Then I'm fine with it. I could. That's one less thing for me then.
Yeah, but
Luke Fowler, Dial Up Brain, thanks for subbing.
before, and I was like, if someone does that to you, you got a nice rights violation there for you.
Yeah.
Hear ye, hear ye. The Council of Eight hereby readjourns. Hooray!
Hello.
Huzzah!
Huzzah.
Reconvenes, I mean.
Am I sitting down? Am I sitting down?
You are. What a strange question, Juno.
I know. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Wait, was that a wacky tobacco cigarette?
Yeah.
Me?
No.
No, no, it wasn't.
That's illegal.
That's illegal.
It definitely wasn't.
I don't do drugs.
Okay.
I don't do drugs.
One of
I'm
the-
not
Wait,
touching
why are
them.
you saying it so many times over and over?
One of those jazz
Uh-huh.
cigarettes.
I used to be an addict.
That's what I'm saying. You boofing, you candy flipping, you son of a bitch.
Okay, so I heard Philippa say that she had something.
I have
yeah.
something, and I know she does too. Yeah.
Okay.
I just have discussions essentially. I haven't actually plotted all this out yet. There were two things I've already talked to Malton about that I want to try to come up with. One is some form of patient privacy laws that are going to be way less stringent than what people might be used to in other districts, because that would be terrible. So I might try to come up with something for that. The other thing, this is more of a question for Ukraine. It's been proposed a concept of medical report request subpoenas. So essentially,
My back is in the chair.
essentially, in situations where they can't get confirmation from the patient that it's okay for the officers to get a report, they'd have to
Not
submit
anymore.
a subpoena on the probable cause of why they actually need the report.
Vandal, thanks for
essentially
subbing.
To
Anarchy, thanks for
protect,
subbing.
people's rights and everything. Because a lot of that
Did they give you,
information just
like,
gets
an
posted on the
example?
docket. Yeah, the big thing is a
My back's
victim
on
of
the
a violent
armrest.
crime. It used to be in the past.
Looks
If a
like we're
victim of a
leaning.
Violent crime came into the hospital. Cops could request that report and just get it immediately without ever speaking to the patient. Sometimes the patient wouldn't even go into the ICU. They would just be out and about, but they still wouldn't even be aware that the cop is requesting this report.
Ron's up, baby.
And then that information would get posted on the docket, just someone's private medical information, and they weren't even aware. And we've actually seen this happen a few times. So essentially, I want to prevent that happening. Same with lawyers as well. They should actually have to try to get those.
I don't disagree with what you said about shorter. As long as you don't try to implement HIPAA and you keep it to like a page or two, I'm okay.
Oh God, yeah, no. If you know anything about how I do things, I would like it to not be something that is too heavy criminally. It should not be something where people are getting arrested because they accidentally slip up or something. Just kind of a framework on things, like things like putting someone's medical records on the docket. That should, that should mean something if you're doing that. It would be a lot simpler than HIPAA is for sure. Okay. So you're open to the subpoenas I do? I can speak to judges about it as well, but since you are kind of the top dog there, I figured I'd bring it up to you.
I'm for it.
Yeah, so just that cops would need to subpoena for records?
Pretty much. I'm still plotting out exactly in which cases. Our initial thought was they come to us and request the report, and they explain to us why they need it. If we deny that, then they can take it to a judge. So it would be, it almost never goes to them, but it can if, they really need them, if that makes sense.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have a pretty good standing relationship with Mr. Shaw over there. So if he's signing off on something, it's good with me.
Oh yeah, okay.
Mine is actually a little bit related to that, specifically records. So a lot of people have come up to me, and with the notebooks that have been imported into the city in the past couple weeks, a lot of people are using these for either records or just ideas for potential business proposals, contracts before they reach the phone, et cetera, et cetera. There have been some concerns that have been voiced to me, and I believe Nakota can correct me on this, but if someone is just carrying around a notebook, the police can search that, as part of their inventory process. Like, it's not just that they have a notebook on them, it's they have a notebook on them and inside is XYZ. Are we wanting to give any kind of protection to potentially,
I feel like
let's just say,
I feel like they
information
should-
notebooks?
I feel like they should need a warrant to search someone's notebook, right?
Well, that's what I'm asking everyone here.
Okay, so this has been, I've discussed this several times with PD command, lawyers, judges, whatever. So here's where we're at.
Ask Toby to change font.
Couple legal principles. I'll make this as brief as I can. So when you have a warrant, the warrant needs to list specifically what you are searching for. So if I have a warrant to search Malton's house because he's a drug dealer and I caught him dealing drugs and I think he has more drugs, and specifically in question, I'm looking for like marijuana, right? I wouldn't, I wouldn't look in like, the corner of his wallet or something. I would look for areas where like marijuana could reasonably be stored. In the case of what we're talking about, there wouldn't be much reason that a cop would go into someone's house, see a book, open the book, and start reading it. They might turn the book upside down and shake the pages to see if any marijuana fell out of the book or there's a hidden compartment, but reading the book would probably be a violation of the terms of the search because it wouldn't be in plain view. So the other legal principle is search incident to lawful arrest, which means when you are placed under arrest for a crime and you are processed into the
Smile
jail
infected, thanks for subbing.
at LSPD into the cells
Minus
and you are
one
sent
cops
to prison
can't
in
read.
Bolingbrook, all of your possessions can be inventoried and searched by the PD.
Ziani, thanks for subbing, and Tang and
Now,
17 Bird and
the
Abigail.
reason for that search is
Vandal,
safety
Anarchy,
and
Serena,
accountability.
Luke Fowler,
right?
thanks
Much
for
like
subbing.
towing a car, you inventory the car because you need to be safe and you need to be ensured that, let's say, someone can't say later, I had 2 diamond-coated Rolexes in that car and now they're missing, the PD stole them. So when you inventory all someone's items, you're looking for contraband to make sure they can't bring it into the jail, and you're also looking to make sure that you're accountable for what they had on them. The part where I get stuck is I don't know if reading a book is a search. The most parallel argument that we have would be a phone.
Right.
And the argument that, for example, Rami made is, well, if someone's phone gets cataloged and then the cops want to get data off the phone, they typically have to file a search warrant.
Right.
And that is correct, but again, the reason for that is because phones are typically password protected, which means that people have taken measures to keep the information safe and secret. Whereas if it's just a loose leaf notebook, then you get into discussions about, well, what's the difference between a loose leaf notebook and a piece of paper that's folded up in their pocket?
Right.
So if a cop can unfold a piece of paper in their pocket and read what's on the piece of paper, what's the difference between opening a book? So we get into a lot of really minor nuance and minutia of law that, in my opinion, is not best served by an argument that I make in a room with you guys, but probably best served by court cases through common law. So, for example, if someone's book is seized during processing and read by the PD, then I think that person should
Ask if
sue
cops
the
can
PD
dismantle a
for
photo
an
chip for
unlawful
weed in the
search and
Sim slot.
and then the courts can decide based on the circumstances how the law should go. But
Yeah.
in terms of legislating it right now, I think it's far too nuanced and complicated to be worthwhile.
I think you're right.
I just want to confirm something. And so under our current legal protections, if a notebook is in a house, at least the warrant would have to cover reading that notebook for them to go
Correct.
through it. Okay, then I think
Right.
that's a good baseline.
Thanks for your input.
Yeah, and again, it's
What the fuck do I say?
nuanced and such a small circumstance of law that I just trying to set policy ahead of time, I think, is a fool's errand.
Fair. The last thing on my list is Civilian Oversight Board. I mean, Crane, we obviously talked a bit about that yesterday. This was after our meeting, unfortunately, Dakota. Is there anything that we, like, as a council, need to decide with the Civilian Oversight Board in terms of, like, eligibility or anything like that? Or
Yes, I was going to allow the council to decide that in terms of so the way that I envisioned the Civilian Oversight Board and the way it was constructed was there would be the head of the bar who would chair the board, and then there would be 4 civilians elected to positions underneath the head of the bar. I had not, outside of saying no felonies, I hadn't really come up with a criteria for how we would allow those people to run for election. So I don't know if you guys have any ideas. Maybe you want to make it no arrestable offenses. Maybe you want to make it so they, I don't know. I don't know what it would be.
No felonies. I don't know how else you would determine someone's eligibility. I mean, obviously they can't be dumb as fuck, right? But
well, it's a popular vote, right? Or is
that's
like a public
boy.
vote?
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
which
what about a violent misdemeanor?
I hate.
I think I could agree that no violent misdemeanors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
No violent, yeah.
No violent crimes, no felonies.
Are we married to the idea of them being voted in?
Not necessarily. The only reason I was keen to the idea originally was because my vision is that if this is a police oversight function, the way that the public would best embrace it is if they truly knew that actual members of the public were on the board.
Right.
If it's just a bunch of government types, then I don't think it carries the same weight. But no, I'm open to suggestion any other way.
Yeah, like it's like I don't have a good idea, but the thought of a popular vote, it doesn't sit well with me, because people will just do stupid shit for the memes and it just won't be taken seriously. But
I mean, maybe
I kind of like that though.
Maybe the position should be very well described, because it's not going to be super fun. I mean, they're literally going to sit in there and listen to testimony for a couple hours at a time.
Yeah.
If you make the qualifications very strict, I feel like you could help filter out some of those issues right off the bat if it were to be a popular vote.
Yeah, but then what qualifications?
I agree with you. I'm just
no violent crimes, no felonies. I think weeds out a lot of undesirables.
It really does, yeah.
And I think if people have clean records, and they are undesirable, they're probably more worried about whatever the hell they're not getting caught for right now anyway.
What about, I mean, it's in the name, right? Civilian Oversight Board, but there are, let's say, niche government roles that might be in between, the traditional ones, such as a police officer and a doctor. Like, for example, I don't know if she has any interest, but could a county clerk run for this board? Could a lawyer run for this board?
My opinion was that this was to be actual civilian.
Yeah.
Not people who hold government positions.
So, so if you're, okay, I'm fine with that. I'm just I'm trying to think how to phrase it. You can't be paid by the state, basically, unless it's a state-run job.
The whole idea is that these are unbiased folks from all walks of life who have an interest in seeing the police be held accountable. If you start introducing government employees and things like that, you start getting into
it defeats the purpose.
Biases and perceived biases and all that.
Will the Civilian Oversight Board have access to important documents that allow them to actually conduct their job properly?
So I have access to everything PD ever has written and will write. In terms of the Civilian Oversight Board, if a case is taken on by the board and Malton reviews it and finds there is merit in his preliminary review to take on the case, then he will request corresponding documentation to that case from me, and then I will provide whatever is relevant, as long as it is not tied to an ongoing investigation. And again, I will make sure that those claims are valid if they are made.
What are the efforts we're making to make sure that the local police force are literate? Because I've encountered at least 2 cops who have claimed that they cannot read.
I'm sorry, what?
Bones and who else? The Plummis guy.
Bones can read, he just can't write.
Okay. Well,
he's a hunt and pecker.
There's
he
also
writes like 30 words a minute.
Yeah, Bones might just be sag farming, honestly.
I think so. Okay. Good. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So it goes back to civilian. I guess I want to specifically get to lawyers then, because they've always been the redheaded stepchild of government employees. I'm fine with there being no other lawyers on the board. We don't want it to be a lawyer oversight board. However, I believe in our current penal code, which is a holdover, they are not classified as government employees.
Apparently they fucking are, because they're taking our fucking money, man.
They get paid by the government.
Are they?
So.
I thought like, kidnapping a government employee didn't list lawyers.
Oh, no. For the purposes of those charges, no, but they're on the payroll.
Right. Okay.
So they're still considered. Yeah.
Lawyers are a hybrid only because they are one of the few government positions, subsidized positions, that can hold a private and a public interest at the same time. For example, you sign in as a public defender, you take every cell rep that comes to you, you don't have a choice. However, if you also want to take on clients who pay you $100,000 to sue their wife for a divorce or whatever, then you can do that as well. So they both are and they aren't.
All right. Well, going back to eligibility for this board, I mean, civilians, I think we're all pretty agreeing on that. But anyone have any ideas other than a popular vote? Like, do they have to? Can they be vetoed by the council or anyone after the fact if we don't?
Why don't we do a popular vote?
Sorry, what was
where
that,
you can pick? Why don't we do a popular vote where you can pick multiple choice?
Okay.
And we take the top 8 and we pick 4.
Sounds good. That's a good
I like
idea.
that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, do interviews like we did for treasure.
All right. Are we voting on this? I don't think so, right? Actually, we could. Yeah, we could.
We are voting on the way that we assemble the board. Yes.
Yes.
Do we have good notes on this right now, Alex? Speak up.
You're voting on a potential popular vote, multiple choice, and then the selection would probably be around 8 if that many people apply, and then potentially moving forward for interviewing.
Yeah, that's my chair squeaking.
Yep. And we pick 4 from the 8.
I would like just in case, just as the mayor has like a tiebreaker vote in legislative matters, if it's a 4-4 vote on a civilian oversight board matter, I think head of bar should get the tiebreaker for who gets on the actual board at the end in that case.
Agreed.
I'm okay with that. Makes sense to me.
Seems fair. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so any nays
I'm
on
down.
the matter of election of people in the civilian oversight board? It is passed unanimously. Good work.
Cool. I'll get that written up and draft as well.
Another concern that I just realized, courtesy of Twitch chat, the reckless evading fine is going to be lower than the highest speeding fine right now. If we go through with the speeding changes.
Mm-hmm.
If we would like to go through some charges, I'd be happy to.
Unfortunately, a
suggest
lot of
increases.
charges are going to be low now because
Yeah.
the way that we established the fines during the restructuring was we did a blanket 40% cut to all fines.
Right.
So doubling the speeding fines is going to make them out of proportion with a lot of things.
Well, my point was, do we want to make it proportionate, or at least more than?
I think
the
we
highest
should
tier?
probably we
Yes.
should adjust them down a little bit.
What adjust what down?
How about this?
The speeding fines rather than go through all the rest of the charges.
Did you already update them, by the way?
Yes.
Good work. I was just thinking about popping reckless evading at 1,000. You know.
So here would be my only thing is if you go to the charges and then you go just on the default view and then you scroll down to what is it?
Felony possession of lien.
The operation of a vehicle section. You go all the way down there. You're gonna see that outside of like street racing and organizing a street race,
Oh, it's not here.
you're gonna be hard pressed to
Right here.
to find a fine that's relatable to current speeding fines.
Okay.
Because evading, for example, is less than a third-degree speeding ticket. So my suggestion is that we're probably better off adjusting the speeding tickets down than we are adjusting everything else up.
I still like the speeding fines being at where they're at. I mean, if people are going to flee to avoid a speeding ticket, they still get it's not stacking to say you were speeding and evading because speeding was the initial reason for the stop.
Yeah.
I also think if we're looking at all these traffic related fines, the most common one people do is the speeding one. Like we're not worried about people not using their turn signal or, running a red light. It's about people who are speeding through the city, and they should be dinged harshly for that.
I have no problem saying that we think that speeding fines need to be excessively harsh because we're giving people a lot of leeway by increasing the speeds.
Look at the way it collapses.
Just be aware that as a city council member, you will probably get either someone from PD or some civilian being like, why the fuck, is the third-degree speeding ticket more than evading? And that makes no sense. And blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah, that's why I just wanted to raise the speeding-related ones to kind of like be in step with that. I know it's more work, but I'm willing to do the work, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm actually, if the mayor would like, I'd be happy to like have a sit down with you where we can go over charges and look at which ones.
So okay, well, this is a whole separate topic now. So
yeah.
So we're saying that we want to raise the fines for all evading and speeding related charges.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
To be in step with the speeding changes that just happened.
Okay.
How many charges are we talking about?
So with the absence of street racing and organizing a street race, the parking and the non at speed charges such as illegal turn, failure to stop, unauthorized parking, proper identification, off-road, window tint, failure signal, misuse, all those would stay the same.
Right.
Right.
Driving on the wrong side would stay the same. Illegal passing, negligent driving would probably need to go up.
Yes.
So negligent driving gets doubled.
Mm-hmm.
Evading gets doubled. Hit and run gets doubled. DWI gets doubled. Felony hit and run, reckless evading, reckless driving, and operating is suspended.
Perfect.
Okay, I will go through and do all that now.
Thank you, Chief Justice.
Yeah, and I will add that to the legislation. So I'll say updated speed limits. Please note in accordance with these limit increases, the ranges and fines for the accompanying speeding citations have been narrowed and increased respectively. In addition, all moving violations have been increased.
Perfect.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, because people driving like assholes really needs to be like reined in.
It's a huge issue. Every
Agreed.
single injury we have pretty much is a car accident currently.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tow trucks.
This will be a good source of money
Crime.
for the state too.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get all that set.
Okay. We're gonna say Dakota.
So I would just request, and I don't know how everyone else feels. Vehicle registration fraud is not currently something that we have seen, but I would like it to be accompanied by a increase on license points, because that is it stands now. It's only time and fine and no points on your license if you commit vehicle registration fraud.
The only problem with that is that it's not an operating ticket. So for example, you can get vehicle registration fraud for a parked car. And I don't know how we could justify points on a license when the person wasn't doing anything driving the car.
I was gonna make an argument, but I think I'll email you about it then.
X-Rocket.
'Cause I don't know how to articulate
Hold
it
the
properly.
Pickle and Rick Kickham and November
Okay.
Wolf and It's Football. Thanks for it. Anyone else before we get to the dense part?
Yeesh.
Mr. Simone.
Stand your ground is a bit iffy.
Crane's an expert on stand your ground.
Notice that, huh?
Like too harsh, too lenient. What are you saying? By
In what
iffy?
respect is it iffy?
It's hard to justify clapping back, basically, from how it's read currently, or am I incorrect? It's hard to actually do something. If somebody breaks into your property, you are not really allowed to do much.
Crane's not an
I feel like
admin.
every
Think
time
of
I
him
go
as
on
like a
senior
liaison
bus, I'll
between
pick it out on stand your
management,
grounds.
essentially.
So, stand your ground currently reads a person can use force to defend themselves or associates in their vicinity when they actually and reasonably believe they're in danger of serious bodily harm or death. However, a person is required to take reasonable steps, such as stepping back or walking away, that are consistent with the person's own safety to try to avoid the necessity of taking someone's life.
Right.
As soon as the imminent danger has passed, persons are required to inform authorities of what has transpired. So if I was you and someone broke into my house, I would articulate that I was already in my house, so I had nowhere else to retreat. And I believed that if they were brazen enough to break into my house, despite locks or alarms or whatever, then, I have no telling, what they're willing to do. And I reasonably feared for my life, especially if I warned them audibly that I was armed and had a gun and they persisted in intruding.
Yes.
Okay.
Now,
I think I could articulate that pretty well.
people trying to use stand your ground to defend like their grime trucks or their group 6 trucks. Well, you know, that's, you have the option to run away and leave the loot behind. And honestly, that's just a risk that you have to accept and take.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's state property anyways. They, in theory, they don't lose anything.
Yeah,
by
nothing
saving
in that
themselves.
truck is worth your life, and
Yeah.
or a reason to take a life. So
No, I
some
agree with
people
that.
may, you know, see it that way, but yeah, that's not just how that works. That's the risk you take at making so much more money. Honestly, if I'm going to be very blunt about it.
Well, it also comes back to like people not being smart about the way they drive a G6 truck and,
Yeah.
and conduct business, but
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
and I intentionally when I
There's minion is
mocked
fucking
up this
chat right now.
constitution, I removed the provision that talks about defending property.
Right.
Okay.
So the old stand your ground, you were able to defend property. Now it's just serious bodily harm or death.
all right.
Right.
Wouldn't you be able to, as like, if we use Rita as an example, like with the knife thing, where he pulls the knife, but he's saying that he's not going to do anyone harm. He's just there, you know, doing his thing. Wouldn't he be able to do that as well? Or would you, like, the second he breaks into your property or forces his way into your property, he could still say that he's not there to harm you? Could that become an issue?
So it'd be whether you believe him or not. It'd be whether you reasonably and actually believe.
Right.
So, for example, if you know someone breaks into your house and you're
Is it
warning
weird
them
now?
that you've got a gun and you'll defend yourself, and they say, "Oh, I'm not here for you. I'm just here for the TV," and then you see like you know them spreading out and surrounding the house, I wouldn't believe them. I'd start shooting.
Fair enough.
And I think that'd be pretty reasonable belief.
All right. Well, if that's the case, then I got nothing to add to that one.
And I will tell you, there have been very few times when I have found
Oh, yeah,
someone to
Academy's
violate
today.
stand your ground. Almost always, it falls under the.
Oh my god,
example
we
of
gotta go to that.
The threat is leaving, and the person fires out of vengeance or spite.
Yeah.
So,
if
for
you
example,
chase somebody
you've
down
got
that
your,
has, you know,
like who was it? Was it a lawyer? It was somebody 5 or 6 years ago, who was hanging out with a friend of theirs. Somebody walks up, somehow had lockpicked their truck when they weren't looking. The person gets in the driver's seat and starts to drive away.
You're getting bored
The
of memes
person
already?
and their companion jump
I'm not
out
bored,
of the
I
way
just
of the
don't need to
truck.
hear
The
any of
truck
this.
goes speeding down the road. The person pulls out a gun and starts popping shots at the truck.
The cultist and Caliente, thanks for subbing.
And at that point, you're not defending your property. Your property's already been taken. At that point, you're
They're
just
debating
executing
laws.
someone in the back as they
We're
run
here to
away.
make laws, not.
Yeah.
So I think that's the distinction I draw. But as long as you're on the defensive and you're not the aggressor, I think you're good.
All right. Sounds good.
Anything else going on with the rest of us before the density occurs?
Really quick, just for my note taking in regards to the oversight committee. So it was popular vote, multiple choice, top 8, council chooses 4. Did we agree to interviews, or are we just going to discuss them?
I think we did. When it gets down to that, like, I would interview them. Who's there?
Yeah. Are we good with interviews, or do we just want to discuss them, you know, between...
I think that if members are interested in interviewing, they can
Not
be present
goading
and ask
right
questions. If they're not, they don't have to be.
Scaticus, thanks for subbing.
One more thing that I forgot briefly. This is... I'm just going to bring this up here because I would hope this shouldn't have to be a legislation thing, but I've already run into it a few times, is protection for medical staff in regards to treatment. We have some very enthusiastic lawyers currently that are trying to kind of nitpick those things and come to us and try to potentially, it hasn't hit this point, but try to potentially take my doctors to court over how a patient was treated. Generally, how we run things is, you know, we are very open
Mayonnaise,
to
thank you for subbing.
unorthodox method of treatment. We trust our doctors to do the best judgment that they have in the moment. So if that continues to be an option, I might propose some sort of protections.
What
for
grounds
that.
do they have to
but I'm
sue?
very-
Don't we have state-sponsored healthcare? They pay for any of this?
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm wondering. But yeah.
Question: there has been, and I don't know if you can confirm or deny this. I have heard that some doctors are unhappy with their current pay and will try and charge
I
people.
saw tweets about doctors being on strike 2 days ago.
Well,
Yes.
What? They got a pay raise recently.
They did, I know. They think that we should be getting paid as much as Group 6 workers or something, and frankly, it's just not going to happen. I'm not asking for that. But the thing is that the doctors that are on strike, either they're just not working or they're still treating them anyways. So currently, it's been less of an issue within the hospital than you'd think.
Some lower
But
G6 pay?
There are some
No.
requesting tips after the fact, which I personally don't have a major issue with. They're still treating the individuals.
Actually,
so,
maybe, but
no,
I
unrelated
mean,
to
as
doctor
long as
pay.
they can ask, but I mean, they can't
refuse treatment.
pressure people. Yeah.
100%. Yes, that as well.
No, doctors are like
no, we're
625
very
or
on top of that,
675 right now an hour.
But I mean, I think the pay's in a good place. We have a lot of good people that are happy with it.
Yeah, like it's dangerous as fuck out there on the streets for these guys driving trucks, man. I drove them
Exactly.
for
like,
a little
they
bit.
make that much money because they risk getting robbed
It's
and
fun.
stabbed.
I ran some grime, probably for about like a week, shortly after the borders reopened and whatnot. I got robbed twice. And there were several other instances that I avoided robbery simply because the people who were trying to rob me recognized me. And they were like, "Oh, okay, well, you're good to go." You know, it's fucked up. Tell these fucking doctors to stop whining.
No, fine with me. Trust me, I'm trying to be the nice one about it, and like I'm on their side at the end of the day, but I'm heavily discouraging any of that because it's just not helpful. They have extremely high demands, and they're kind of delusional on that front, to be very frank.
Hell, if they think it's better, tell them to work Group 6. You got more doctors than we do cops. Fuck it.
That's the thing. We have some that just are, and they can do that if they want. But yeah, the ones that are sticking around are really standing out currently.
Yeah, I don't got any sympathy.
Yeah.
Look, 5 or 6 years ago, I was making $400 an hour as a lawyer, and this is in the old economy, so that should give you an idea of how low that was. And then I was making $660 an hour as a judge. And I worked that job full time as well as running a free legal advice booth at the Dean World for a good 4 months to save up $300,000, put a down payment on a house to then be under a loan for the next 5 months working off that money. So I have zero fucking sympathy for anyone bitching about anything.
Philip,
I was a mechanic.
Yeah, no,
I was a mechanic for over a year and a half with no ticket system.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Philip,
Yeah,
I got no passive pay.
Yeah, what's up?
Can you fire doctors?
Yes, we can. We do plan to.
Oh, I'm not like badgering you to do it. I was just curious if you had the power to do it.
Yeah, it's a discussion usually. But it's gone well so far. We've at least had one firing already. You're well aware of that one. It was that Desmond Walker. Yeah. He's our only firing so far. No one's even been fired for a felony yet, so that's pretty good.
Oh, nice.
We're talking about Frog, right?
Yes. Frog.
Yeah. Okay. I never actually knew his real name.
Yeah.
That motherfucker lied to me about that shit. By the way.
He lied to a lot of people.
Oh yeah, he straight up lied to you. I remember I was sitting out front,
yeah,
and the doctors came out and told me what he did, and you're like, "No, not Frog." And I was like,
"Yeah, yeah."
He was very nice to very specific people, and anyone he didn't consider valuable enough. No, he was not.
I see. So what you're saying is that because I was a prospective mayoral candidate, he was exceptionally nice to me.
Pretty much, yes. Yeah, exactly. To jump back, sorry, I know this kind of derailed a little bit. To be very clear here, I'm on the same page with pay. That's not an issue where I'm bringing up. But how do y'all feel about protections for doctors when it comes to treatment?
I'm for it.
I don't know how lawyers should be suing them anyway. What are they suing?
Are they suing them in open court for
Who are they suing?
$100?
Are they suing the doctor themselves, or are they suing the government?
That's the thing, is they haven't tried yet, so I'm not trying to like push it now, but we do way too frequently have.
Because for example, when you sue a PD member who was acting in accordance with their duties, you're suing them and their department. So are they suing the hospital and the doctor?
Yeah, I don't really know. I've
Like,
had
what kind of
yeah.
like circumstances, or like, is it just that, like, did they go in for a broken leg and had a liver removed, or is it that kind of a thing,
No,
or
not quite that level. Not quite that level yet, or anything like that.
okay? I mean, if they just didn't like how the doctor did things, but they still were treated properly, then I don't see what
exactly.
Yeah, they'd have no
That's
ground
kinda
to
my
stand on.
thoughts.
You shouldn't
what's up,
legislate bedside manner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Michael?
Do we have a malpractice law? Legislation, anything?
No, we do not.
Should we have that?
And I personally,
This council needs a
would
Scrum
not want
Master.
that.
I learned what
I think that
scrumming was
we,
like
we
literally
have
like 2
high
days
level
ago.
of treatment options when it comes to our doctors. If someone were
Mayonnaise,
to
thanks for subbing.
abuse
Rare
that
Twitch
trust,
name.
they would straight blatantly.
I'm just
my
gonna
food
say
here,
there
so-
are a number of reasons judicially why
It is.
I could not foresee
As of
the
30
feasible
minutes ago,
prosecution
what
of
the-
malpractice cases.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it rises to the level of like extreme negligence, I mean, you could try to articulate like assault with a deadly or attempted murder at that point.
To be
anyway.
honest, yes. If someone fucked around that hard, if it's like the example that
We're gonna
Anna
let them
gave
go
where
on.
it was
Hold on, I'm gonna
very
grab my food real
blatant
quick. It's just a sandwich.
malpractice, it wasn't just unorthodox treatment. They would likely just be fired, and that could potentially hit criminal charges level. But as for treatment for what is, there. We do offer a lot of options for that, and I would prefer if that remained an option.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I don't think that that kind of thing should be entertained whenever the lawyers try to push. So
Hell yeah. Okay. I think also the big thing that although I bring it up now, I don't think this needs to hit legislation levels, is that judges aren't idiots. I think generally they could take a look at something and be like, well, this doctor is a doctor. They're just trying to treat this individual the best they can. And hopefully that wouldn't go very far, we'll see.
right. So maybe that's a discussion that you and Lance can have. Kind of
if
keep
it's
an
a
eye
lawyer,
on.
I mean, yeah, if it's a lawyer pressing it, though, I'm assuming they're not doing this willy nilly. It's probably because someone called them and asked them to, so they're probably just
Yes.
doing their job at that point.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no hard feelings on that.
Yeah.
But
okay.
But yeah. Okay. Good. I'm glad y'all are on essentially the same page. That just that's
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah. Max is he's resting his eyes. He just texted me.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Could I
should we
broach
take-
this subject?
Mhm.
I don't really know how this would even work. This is obviously probably more geared towards Ukraine. Senor Buns. We've been having issues lately with, I'm using air quotes, the managers and the people who work there. As far as I've been led to believe is that nobody there actually has autonomy over anyone. It's just a who gets to work first and signs in type deal. Is that correct?
I don't know.
To answer your question, Dakota,
What
I
is the
believe,
sorry?
I
What's
believe
the
that
what's the
is.
impetus for the issue?
They've
We
self-appointed themselves like managers and things that are in charge.
Yeah.
We've also been having issues where people get there and they're manager for the day and they start firing people, and it's causing some controversy with the staff, I should say.
Who's firing? Sorry, who's firing who?
I know Adam was fired. At one point for the
That sounds like
was
From where?
That sounds like not our
from Circle
purview.
Buns. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds like it's above us.
That sounds like not our issue.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone's
Yeah,
me
I
on
don't
the
think you have to
sandwich.
worry about that.
That's a different report category. Mr.
Noted.
Mayor, is it density time? Are we reached maximum velocity?
I think so.
All right.
All right, let's hear it.
First things first.
I'll start with the one about murdering me.
Nope, we're gonna get to that one later.
All right.
I told you he was above 70.
What?
Hold on, it's not important. Okay. Brady Law, you're familiar with it, Crane?
Fuck you.
What do you think about the Brady Law?
I think that we should create our own laws in this jurisdiction, and anyone who thinks they're clever by bringing in laws that literally took hundreds of fucking years of jurisprudence and policy making to come up with is probably an asshole.
I think as a general policy, I think we should wait to see how the bench rules, and then if the council wants to discuss it after that, maybe that's when we talk about it.
So you guys don't think it's needed, and no threat of evidence destroying and whatnot?
If there is something that's needed, I think we can suggest and create our own laws. I think citing to and copy pasting from other jurisdictions is the fucking death knell of my enjoyment and sanity.
I don't want any sweaty lawyers.
Okay. So what are you guys saying about making it illegal for cops to conceal and destroy evidence?
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, isn't that a given?
Yeah, I thought that was...
Is it a given?
I would assume so, but is it not?
I mean, it's evidence tampering.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a charge. We can be charged with that criminally.
And if a cop is charged with evidence tampering, what happens to them, Dakota?
I'd assume you'd get fucking fired.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for the captains,
very
but
least.
I would be fired if I did if I was evidence tampering. And if I was in charge of people who were evidence tampering, I would fire them immediately.
That actually brings up an interesting little point here, to not tangent too much, but I believe only police are authorized to push charges as the state. Is that Crane? Who can push criminal charges right now?
The prosecutorial powers are limited to the PD currently.
I don't know how.
However, once again, as we discussed with the Civilian Oversight Board,
right,
if there was an allegation of evidence tampering by a cop in a case, and you investigated with your board and found merit to that claim and made a recommendation to the PD that that officer be fired, not only would your recommendation be public in accordance with how your board's supposed to be run, but then PD would be put on the hot seat. And if they decided to circle the wagons and not fire that guy, well, I mean, God. No offense, Dakota, but good luck getting anything passed ever on this council again.
True.
Yeah.
If there was someone who was evidence tampering and came forward and they weren't fired, I would have a much harder time going into work, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I agree, and I just don't even know if this is a topic worth even unpacking, but are we wanting only the police to have prosecution powers for now?
I will not be creating any kind of district attorney's office or prosecutorial body in the near future. That's something that has been heavily reviewed ad nauseum, and it's never worked well.
Yeah.
Yeah, evidence tampering is the act of destroying, concealing, or removing a piece of evidence with the purpose of hiding the truth or making an item unavailable for an ongoing investigation or judicial proceeding.
So, would we qualify withholding evidence as evidence tampering, right? Yeah.
Correct. Specifically the language of making it unavailable for a judicial proceeding.
Okay, so it's already a law then. We're good.
Correct. It would be during discovery if, for example, the defense asked for all files related to the PD's case and the PD didn't turn over that piece of evidence, that would be seen as evidence tampering.
Okay, next up. Animal carcasses. They shouldn't be littering the streets. I'd like to propose a misdemeanor fine for people found tampering with or hauling around a literal huge animal parts and just kind of just doing whatever the fuck they want with them. It's gross. It's unclean. It's a sanitation issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually happening.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
They're
yeah.
literally
It's
everywhere.
This is another Reed
Yeah.
thing.
Right.
He just carries one around. Yeah.
It's not just
Not
Reed.
only-
Dude,
No.
Yeah,
It's not
so
only
many people
carrying them
do.
around. People are placing them like in places like Senior Buns, which is a food
in all of your
establishment.
apartments, like
Don't
they'll
they
put them in front
smell?
of every door.
Yeah, they
Yep.
reek.
Yep.
How do they
There's
handle
like
this
deer
smell? What the
heads
fuck?
everywhere. Like, yeah, there's like slabs of deer carcass like just laying around that people will like try and put on people and
Yeah.
use as seating. thing. It's beyond stupid.
Have you not noticed like people are mounting deer heads in really odd places, and yet
I'm gonna be
somehow you
honest
see
with
one
you.
every 10 seconds?
I've been sleeping in the chambers on the second floor. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
He
I don't
doesn't
like
get
the
out
public
much.
that much.
I've seen a deer carcass in here.
I don't
just
think
dropped it in the
mounting deer
hallway.
heads is that bad because a lot of people are doing it for decorative purposes. But
Yeah,
like,
but those
like
have been
slabs of
properly
meat or
taxidermied
legs
and-
or
Yeah.
whatever is
The carcass on top of a
bigger
street
issue.
light is a bit odd for me personally.
Yeah, I think it depends on.
I feel
placement,
like
of
the
course,
only
but-
the only place you should leave that shit is back in nature where it's gonna get eaten anyways.
Yeah,
Having it around the
exactly. Leave it
streets and
for the
everything
mountain
is
lions.
yes, having it around the streets, hanging in fucking street lights, in the park, etc. That shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, I agree.
What would we call a charge for doing something like this?
Ooh, let's make it a fun acronym.
Okay.
I do
You want to call it? You want to call it the Reed Law?
I'm dead.
Repulsive, emergent.
Keep your meat to yourself.
Let me cook.
I'm no good at this, so.
Yeah, well, everyone works
I'm
on
trying
the
to think of a
acronyms.
synonym that starts with E for like corpse. I'll work on it.
Okay.
Can I backpack off of the carcassing with some type of law surrounding hunting without a license? Because I don't believe there's one on the books right now.
Really?
I believe it's just animal cruelty right
So
now.
the way we have it set up right now is, in order to hunt with a firearm, you need a license to carry the gun. So that solves the whole like needing a license to hunt thing. And then if you're not using a gun and you're not following the hunting protocols, then it'd be animal cruelty.
Okay, good to know.
Is that still like a 0-0 charge though? The animal cruelty?
No, that got fixed.
It's huge now.
24 months, $1,800 fine.
I'll be honest, I just chat GPT'd this
Oh,
regulated
it
exclusion of
says legally
exotic
permitted.
debris.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Nice.
There you go.
All right, hold on. Let me whip that up.
What do you think for fines and whatnot for this?
What was animal cruelty again?
24 months and an $1,800 fine.
Mm-hmm.
24,
Only charge as well.
1,800. Probably scale it down by like half that, so 12 months and $900.
Sounds good to me.
Call it a misdemeanor.
So we are. I guess it's safe to say we're all in agreement on this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just gonna slap that bitch
Restriction
in right
on
now.
exposed. No, that's not. That's an E.
Yeah, the first one was good.
The first one was fine.
Wait, you still need a name for it?
Oh, I got regulated exclusion of exotic debris. So read.
Could I? I'll.
What's wrong, bro?
Hold on. So TLDR on this is going to be anyone that leaves these carcasses,
Most any.
where they shouldn't be. Is that the?
Yeah.
They shouldn't leave carcasses in public areas.
So,
basically.
as a police officer, what if I was able to figure out, based on evidence, who left that there?
You're referring to DNA?
I am.
You should only have so you should only have DNA if they've committed a violent felony. And on top of that, the only time that you're granted warrants by the judiciary to gather DNA for the purpose of an exclusionary or inclusionary charge would be for exigent crimes, so drug trafficking, violent felonies, things like that. If it was a misdemeanor littering charge, we're not going to allow you to gather DNA just for that.
I am okay with that. I just want to make sure something like this isn't an early opportunity for someone to act like a moron. That was
Nope, that is always and will be the policy.
So sorry, is this charge you're putting in a misdemeanor then, Crane?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right.
Just trying to put the fire out before it starts.
That's the name of the game, bro.
It's appreciated.
So any individual found to be abandoning animal carcasses or byproducts in public areas within city limits.
Yes.
If they're dumping them out in the county in the desert, I don't give a shit, to be honest.
Same.
Yeah.
Animals are gonna take care of that.
Yeah, coyotes
Cool.
and shit.
Yeah.
We okay. Next one's a fun one. I'm a big fan of this one. Mutual combat laws. Anyone?
What, like duels?
Please, no. Please, no.
Hey,
Oh my
hold on. This is what it was written as for notes. Consent to spar and the rights of the WWE should be respected. MMA should be respected. Let's have fight nights and empower the people to provide entertainment to the masses. Bread and circus is how you keep a population docile.
What does it mean, the rights of?
So this isn't the actual writing for whatever act we're talking about.
Yeah.
Essentially, my vision was to, have if two people want to beat the shit out of each other, they could do it legally, as long as they were being supervised by a police officer.
Does this absolve all liability?
Yeah.
And how do we gain consent?
The police officer would be the witness.
Okay, so the officer has to inform them of the risks, liabilities. They have to both affirmatively consent and waive any liability and then perform.
Correct. What do you guys think about that?
Okay, so are we talking like sponsored events, or are we talking about just spontaneously two people?
Spontaneous.
Okay, that's going to be a manpower issue, first of all. For
I'm not gonna lie, I'm in favor, because I used to do that in court all the time.
Yeah.
There were some times where I didn't feel like hearing a case between like Mike Block and the PD, and I just said, "Y'all want to scrap it out?" And if there were like 4 defendants and 4 cops, then I'd be like, "All right, you match up with you match up with you, one at a time. We'll do this like death fight style," and it just worked out.
I like
hold on.
honestly.
I have to be a witness briefly in the Turgle case that's happening right now.
Oh.
Shouldn't take more than 5 or 10 minutes. I apologize. Okay. Timing was very poor. But is that okay?
All right. I mean, we could still discuss it while you're down there.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I will return shortly.
My one stipulation, just instantly coming to mind, is I wouldn't want this to occur either like in the street, sidewalk, or
nice one. I assume this is the big court case. To the courtroom.
Oh, there you guys are.
Hi, Break. Hi, Timo.
Perfect. What like a
Oliver, are you good?
Right over.
Hello, Max. Chocolate donut too.
Are we in recess?
Hi.
Memory than
Yeah, we called a brief recess. I wasn't
yes.
sure how long it would take you to get down here, and I needed to eat foods.
How brief is the recess?
5 minutes. 4 minutes now.
Is that
probably.
too long?
Maybe
yeah,
3.
probably 3. We could probably get it uncalled because everyone's back.
Moron? How am I the moron? I came immediately.
They were hugging.
You missed my questioning. It was sick.
Texted me.
Yeah, sorry. We're doing a council meeting right now.
I know it's really important. Thank you for taking a brief time away.
We've already passed quite a few things.
Really? Oh, that's good news. Spoilers. Did you get the Maximilian rights pass? Because that's the one I'm most concerned about.
Now.
So,
oh no.
Crane said this, and I kind of
Did
agree.
he fart?
We should kind of conceive our own legislation. Speaking of which, Brady laws.
Crinkle?
Brady laws?
That was shot down based on that.
I was sure that was going to be shot
Gatsby
down.
has food.
Hold on, let's go talk over here, Siobhan.
Okay.
Oh?
Who is Gatsby?
Like seagull?
Okay, well, I'm glad that you were not surprised by that.
I'm not surprised at all. No, I expected that.
Right now, so I got some clarification. Essentially, if a police officer, evidence tampering, because it's evidence tampering, right?
Yeah, to some extent, yeah.
Well, that's how it would be seen if they did it.
Oh, they're just going to do it that way. Okay.
And
it's fine. That's a solution.
And I asked for some clarification. What happens to a cop when they evidence tamper? And Nakota, the PD liaison, said they would be fired. So I feel like there's like.
I feel like you'd have to prove it first, though. And who's going to press charges on the PD if nobody else has the ability to do so?
Right. Yep.
Okay. Well, the police are going to investigate themselves, and they'll find no wrongdoing. No one will be surprised. All right. The Civilian Oversight Board ends up with more teeth. What did pass?
We got. Seems like mutual combat might pass.
Nice.
It seems like animal carcass. We have a new fine and charge coming for that.
Sick. That's good.
I haven't gotten to the good stuff yet. I was starting with the literally the first 2 hours was just people
Yeah, well, we wanted to come support you, you know.
remembering that they had something they wanted to say instead of coming prepared.
Wow, they didn't come prepared.
Thanks to you, I'm literally the only prepared person there, I think.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Um,
I was literally thinking about that and how I wanted to write that stuff up for you when I was going to sleep last night.
well, you did a fucking fantastic job, and I look very professional right now.
Good. I'm glad.
We should all have our own, you know.
Good. Good. So you're the only professional one in the room?
Surprise! I mean, I was talking with my mouth full, so.
Well, that's fine.
Good branding. It's memorable. I think it's memorable.
Depends on.
That's a manners thing, not a professionalism thing.
So, how long do you think I'll need to be here? By the way.
Not that long. Your questions aren't that long, and I'm going to try to shut down every question on Cross, just
Okay.
like I did with Turgle. I objected the fuck out of them. Ugh.
Okay.
See?
I put Oliver over there on tilt. He stopped objecting at one point because he just got fucking slapped down so hard. So it's actually beautiful.
Nice business outfit, by the way.
Thank you. This is my, you know, legit court outfit, and then I still got the boombox on display.
When Volkswagen used to
Naturally.
put their ads in the newspaper back in the
I think the thing should be done by now.
50s.
Your Honor, Your Honor, we're ready to continue if opposing counsel is ready to continue.
Saying it's a lemon. We make lemons or whatever.
I'm gonna go
More
in
people
over
bought
the
them.
stands.
We're ready.
Where should I stand?
We're gonna go up on the witness
Ding
stand,
dong,
and you're
fuck
gonna
my
get
dad.
sworn
I mean,
in.
I'd buy his products
now?
all day.
Yeah.
Like literally
Yeah,
right
he
now?
just said okay. He just said okay. Yeah, get up here.
That's Birch. That's
All right, Your Honor, our last witness that we call to the stand is Mayor Maximilian Young Dab Thoroughbred.
Dab.
Mr. Thoroughbred, please raise your left hand. Mr. Thoroughbred, do you swear and affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you, curvy elephant.
I do.
Witness is sworn in, Your Honor.
All right. Whenever you're ready, defense.
Oh, I just realized Sebastian's not here. That's all right.
God damn it.
All
That's fine. They can see the
right. Did you hire Turgle to work security for you on January 6th?
Yes.
Why were you at City Hall on January 6th?
We heard that there was going to be a violent protest, and we wanted to do our part to protect the publicly owned assets of the state.
And were you injured on January 6th at City Hall?
Yeah.
Where in City Hall were you when you were injured?
I was in that corridor that leads to the mayor's office.
Was this a dead end?
Extremely dead end. I was almost a dead end.
Was Turgle with you?
Yeah.
Were you assigned a police detail to protect you?
No.
Did you feel like your life was in danger?
Yes. It was a madhouse. There were orcs playing their fucking horns. There were people screaming. It was just pure chaos. I did not feel safe at all.
What would have happened to you if your faithful security detail hadn't stepped in?
I probably would have been trampled to death if I had to guess.
Jesus. Sad. No further questions, Your Honor.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, how you doing?
Hi, bud.
Oh, bud, that's cool.
Yeah. This guy.
This detail, this protection detail. Did you request police protection detail?
No.
Oh, you didn't. Okay. Did you notice any police up there?
Yeah.
How many do you think?
Probably around. They kind of formed a perimeter at the end of the corridor. I would say probably about 5 or 6. I could see immediately.
Okay, so 5 or 6 cops were up there. Okay, that's all I got. On me. Do you have anything, partner? All right, go ahead.
Hello there, Mr. Mayor. How are we today?
Hi, Oliver.
Hey there. Hey, I wanted to ask you, what specific actions did the defendant take in protecting you?
So we formed a massive blob of human flesh in front of the mayor's door because it seemed like that was their ultimate goal. We kind of wanted to put a stop to it. She was a part of the blob, so was I.
All right. And did she take any actions to defend your person during this?
Yeah, she was in front of me.
What did she do?
She was literally standing in front of me, just doing this.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And was she armed?
Not as far as I'm aware. I cannot recall.
All right. And is your testimony the only thing she did that day was act as a human blockade?
As far as I remember, I don't know if I don't know if I saw it or not, but as far as people who were hurt at that time, because I was hurt, I'm pretty confident I was the first person to be wounded. So it would have been difficult for me to kind of see what happened afterwards.
All right. So you wouldn't have been able to see what the defendant did after you were injured. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you. No further question.
They drew first blood on me.
All right. Prosecution, are you guys done with Cross?
Yeah, we're all set. Thank you, Judge.
All right. Are you guys doing a redirect?
We just
Yeah.
have a couple questions.
Hang on. I'm reading the latest state announcement. Oh, shit. There's new speed limits.
That we just did that, guys. We were just meeting and I did that.
All right. So it looks like 55 in city limits, 75 on county roads, and 90 on highways. Oh, that's actually it. Oh my god, that's actually
Anyway,
fines and speed
Yeah,
ranges.
we go way faster than that.
I
But
just
thanks,
go
Mayor.
80 in the city, but thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Fines
That's
and
our mayor.
speed
Our
ranges
mayor
for
is
said
that. Holy
offenses
shit.
have.
Catch me,
Stop talking.
slacks.
I'm explaining something. You guys need to know this part. We go poor again. Fines and speed ranges for said offenses have increased and narrowed respectively.
Meh.
That means if you guys get caught speeding, the speed tickets are way higher. I'm looking at you back there, fucking
It's the principle we're excited about.
Cuba. Just don't get caught, guys.
Osvaldo.
Exactly. Just don't get caught.
All right. Let's go on redirect.
All
Slash
right.
and go.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, first a clarifying question. They asked you how many police were there. How far away were the police from you?
So the police established a perimeter. If you're familiar with the hallway that leads to the mayoral office, it is a kind of rectangle shape. They were very far back, as far as I recall. The orcs were standing in front of what is now the chief of staff office. The human blob was in front of the mayoral office, and then the protesters, in quotes, which rioters would be a more appropriate word for them, were just kind of like an amorphous mass directly between the police officers and us.
Okay, so the orcs, as you described them, were they with the insurrectionists?
Nope. They actually when the rioters kind of got a little too riled up, they the orc chieftain blew his horn amidst the gunfire, and he and his like 5 orcs kind of walked over to join the blob, the protection blob.
Was the blob peaceful?
Yeah.
Were the insurrectionists peaceful?
I presume not, because I was stabbed by somebody. I do recall a there was a what was his name? Ragnar. This guy kind of pierced the blob and like shoved me and seemed like he was trying to get to me to hurt me. And then I don't really remember anything else after that.
Remember what Ragnar was wearing?
He was wearing like leather armor. he's a blonde guy. He was a big guy. Like literally leather armor. Not like a gimp suit, but like medieval leather armor.
Like something out of Mad Max?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
All right. Let me just confer real quick. I think this is going to be it. That is it.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down. We appreciate it. I know that
All right.
you had very important business to attend to.
That's all right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, defense. That looks like it was your last witness. Is there any evidence that you want to bring up?
Was that okay? Did I talk too much?
That was perfect. No, you're perfect.
We'll
we would like
touch
to
on the
highlight
evidence.
evidence. We want to highlight Cornwood's
Love you guys.
statement on the report, Officer Shaisty's statements
go.
in the report, Carmine's text and the evidence in the report, and Turgle's public profile will also indicate no other charges as well. Since the event
What up, Baldy? Hi, Brick.
Super bald. What up? You going back to the meeting or whatever?
Yeah, I had to leave mid-meeting, right as I was starting to propose stuff.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Love you, Brick.
Love you.
I return. Apologies.
Oh, you're good.
Time to go.
So, what was the general consensus on mutual combat?
We were fine with it in the courtroom under judicial supervision.
Okay.
Because one of the objections was that they didn't want to burden the cops, and I said, "Fuck it, I already allow it in my courtroom. Why not just offer the judges the opportunity to entertain it or not?" So if a judge entertains it, you bring the other guy to City Hall. You say, "We want to fight. We want to do it safely without liability." Judge calls down an EMS. Gets their consent verbally, hits the gavel, they fight, and that's the end of it.
And this doesn't have pertain to an actual court case. It's just literally.
No, they just ask. It's just like open court, and I think a really good benefit of it is the metal detectors mean that nobody's going to cheat and pull out a knife or a gun or whatever.
Oh, that's a good point.
Perfect. So, go on.
Well, to add on to that, I don't know if this is something we want to add now or just address it as can. But you mentioned MMA. I think if it's under a licensed business where that's their speciality, I mean, I think it should be allowed then too. But that may be a bridge we cross when it comes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyone else think jujitsu's lame? You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, if I wanted to wrestle a man, I would have, been born gay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, word.
Hell yeah.
Or bisex. Or bisex.
Yeah, hey, whatever you're into, but not my thing.
You see? Okay, so would that be where would we plug that into the current legislation?
Shit, I don't know.
Would we just toss it in the legislation section of the MDT as its own thing, kind of like how you did with the speed limits?
The alternative would be, I don't know if it's too wordy, but you could just rework the assault and battery definition, like exemptions, if under judicial guidance or just something.
I think we should make a legislation announcement.
Yeah, I think we need a specific entry for mutual combat.
Okay. Do you want me to draft that up, Mr. Crane, or would you
That would be very helpful.
Okay, easily done. I will get that done today. Cool. Next, what was the vote on that, by the way?
Oh, and
we actually voted.
Yeah, unanimous.
Yeah, we're
I
all
believe.
for it.
Yeah, and any nays?
Nope.
Excellent. I like this trend.
There you
I
go.
like how we're asking for any nays because we're so cooperative and working together right now. It's a beautiful thing to witness.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's really touching on anything too divisive yet. So
Yeah, nobody's asked to murder each other yet.
I love how we're going around in circles.
Speaking of
Yeah.
which, the one-child policy.
Let's go, baby.
This is a child of mine. I went ahead and shared it with you guys.
A child of yours.
Yeah.
Well, you better be ready to pay for that.
This is just a brief overview, but essentially, Los Santos has an incest / adoption / family tree epidemic. And the purpose of the one-child policy would be to null and void officially any of these fraudulent adoptions. It would furthermore establish the crime of adoption fraud. And it would also, and all of these things are revenues for the state. Okay, so not only does it establish that stuff, it's going to provide the opportunity for people to officially and state recognize adopt only one person And it would be for the price of $25,000 per adoption, $25,000 to unadopt, and a $50,000 fine if someone is somehow convicted of adoption fraud. I don't know how you would get caught doing that. It's mainly just a big number to scare. I'm sure someone might be stupid enough to actually outright incriminate themselves in that regard. But that is the one-child policy to kind of curtail this weird societal phenomena that's been going on for years, as far as I'm aware.
Question.
Sure.
What if is there anything in there with liability? Like if you adopt somebody, you're liable for their actions?
Nope. Literally just a certificate that says, "Hey, you are adopted by this person. Congratulations." That's it.
Could we have that?
Liability in what way?
It's your kid. You're liable for their actions to some degree.
So that would be possible and a potentially good idea if they weren't adults. but in 100% of occasions they are adults, and oftentimes extremely close in age. So it's a weird thing.
So there's a lot of questions with this. For example, like I'm all on board with this. Don't get me wrong. I just want to get the kinks out of the way. So you and I already discussed this wouldn't apply to siblings. You
Right.
can't
Yeah.
adopt a sibling.
Okay. Yeah. So, blood relatives, this does not apply to at all, obviously, because it's not an adoption. You guys are related by blood.
What about marriage relatives?
Also allowed, I would say. I also have something on marriage I want to propose as well in a moment, but go on, Juno.
So the other thing, what was it? Okay, age difference.
Right.
So, the way that I have this playing out in my mind, so please feel free to intervene, is, you'd obviously, people would apply for this, and they'd state their case in point to whoever it may be that will be in charge of this. I'm thinking a judge, obviously. Let's say a 30-year-old wants to adopt a 29-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm iffy on that.
Okay.
The age just doesn't make sense to me. However, if a 50-year-old wants to adopt a 25-year-old, that makes sense.
You're...
Yeah.
Go on.
Because at that point, it's like, okay, if you're attempting to adopt someone like a year or two younger than you, you might as well call that person your sibling rather than your kid, you know?
Right. But that's just not how adoption works, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So my thoughts on this, I agree with you. It's fucking stupid. That said, I think it's finally time for the city of New Los Santos to really take advantage of that stupidity and to, despite the minute age differences, to let it go through anyway, because that's a $25,000 check for the state. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess I was thinking that it would you'd have to really prove your case in point to people, but I understand that aspect too.
Yeah,
I
this
don't.
much money for it. Why are we limiting it? Why not just like raking the cash?
Oh, you want to up the price a little bit? I was actually just thinking.
Not the price.
Unlimited children, she's saying.
If they're willing to pay.
If someone wants to adopt like 5 kids, they can throw over 100K.
So
yeah, but that's the thing though. If people start adopting 5 kids, then I mean, you got to think about it this way: this city, in comparison, this island, this state, in comparison to other states, is actually quite small. Everyone is tied to one another in some way, and that's how you fuck up the family tree completely.
Yeah. So, obviously, these ties, I used to run the streets years ago. I knew a lot of people. It provided a lot of, what's the word? Muddying of the waters insofar as, like, hey, Johnny attacked Billy, but, I know both of them, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's like a
Hello, welcome to my life.
It's like a societal issue, really. This kind of helps it a little bit. And that's why I wanted to put a cap on it, because it kind of, what's the best way to put this?
It just gets a bit absurd, kind of.
Well, yeah, when you have somebody who's literally just like, "Hey, hi, how are you? You're my kid." you know,
And that
then I
has
can
happened.
understand
That has
that.
fucking happened.
I remember
Right.
when Bass passed away and I did his autopsy and viewing after. One of the contacts just said all of my children, and you know how fucking hard it was to try to figure out who they were. There were
Yeah,
so fucking
it was a lot.
It took me all night.
As part of the adoption process, I was flirting with the idea of allowing people to change their surnames. I don't know how. I don't know how that would work on the back end. However, so it might just completely gloss over that idea. I don't want people's like records not being transferred over.
Yeah,
to the
I'm
new...
against that just from a logistical standpoint.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's why it's never really been entertained.
I'll give
too
you a
much,
comparison,
just because
Max.
It's too much.
Even though I have the judicial and technical capability to do so in the MDT, I typically refer everyone who wants a name change to the federal government because I just don't think it's something we should be fucking with.
Yeah, I feel that. I was just letting you guys know that's what I was on. Nakota.
So this is just to clarify, this is specifically for a parental adopting a child, correct?
Yeah.
So what would stop someone from saying, "Oh, we're brother and sister now. We're related"?
Good fucking point.
Are you talking about like blood relative, or are you talking about like other?
No. I'm just talking about people doing the same exact thing that you're trying to curb, but just different relationship.
We could so
That would still be falsifying. I don't know the correct terminology for it, but it would still be.
What about like identity? We could call it identity fraud, right? Isn't that?
Then you're getting into dicey territory with what that constitutes legally, I think.
Okay.
Feel like
we could just call that adoption as well. You know? And then would you guys do DNA tests at the hospital by chance?
Yeah, I've
Oh,
done that
good
before.
lord.
You do.
I have done that before, yeah.
Are those bad?
We're always gonna run into the issue that people can just, instead of having it be official, which is like what you do by adopting and paying,
They'll
and
just
this
say
is-
it.
They will just say that this is my kid.
Right.
Obviously, but then you have the difference of
That's
people
why
just
this is
saying it versus it being official. Am I allowed to question why one? Why not two? Why not allowed to have a sibling?
Right.
I see. I was thinking that. I was thinking, why don't we start off with the one child policy, see how that goes, and also
What about grandkids?
I was also I raised that up as well, but with my train of thought, I really want to do this family tree. That is something that I can do in my own time. I can build up that document. That wouldn't be accessible to the public at all, but it's a way to keep track, and then coming back to it a little while later if this goes through, and potentially adding another child to that, so
Wait,
then
hold
it
on.
be a 2-child policy.
So you
Does that make
wanna
sense?
Am I following this right? You wanna gather everyone's information about who's related to who by blood or adoption and put it in like a
For-
central document?
No, it's for the DOJ, and if so, for instance,
So you want the government to track who's who?
not the PD, the DOJ, and
Right, the PD,
potentially,
DOJ.
potentially the doctors as well in case of an emergency, so they know who to contact in the case of an emergency. Let's say a person doesn't have emergency contacts.
Do you have uniforms planned?
What?
Yeah, that's kind of. I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
I'm open to this discussion. That's why I've tried to like lean into it a
So-
bit, but I don't think as it stands it's the
I
best.
have a lot of feelings about this, partially because my family is not as, I guess, overabundant as the late Sam Bass's Bush was, but
right.
Like I have my brother Flop, who we are not blood related,
Of course.
which we have officially adopted each other for many years, and then I have, although not officially a father-daughter relationship. I do have my father figures, Richard Dark and Matt Rhodes, and they have officially taken Flop as their child. So, and then they also had a son, Cody Sharp, who is no longer with us. So
was he dead?
Yes,
he's dead.
he passed away.
Oh, okay.
Now, as far as like the age difference, there's not a lot of an age difference between Matt and I. There is more of a significant one between Richard and I. So I don't like the age restriction on
that's
this
not gonna be a thing.
Yeah. But I do get where you're coming from as to why you feel it might be, because people just randomly picking up strangers off the road and then claiming them is silly.
It's societal erosion.
Right.
It's terrible.
But there are established families already that have built those bonds and have those relationships, and we shouldn't be messing with that.
Counterpoint,
So you're saying there's good
counterpoint,
ones?
if those bonds mean so much to them, surely they'd be willing to pull a little money to make it official in the eyes of the state.
And the whole family tree thing in my eyes wasn't anything to do with like keeping proper track. It was moreover, for example, let's say two people want to get married and it's to find out whether they're like adopted to each other or some shit like that.
I get
I
that.
agree. I'm on board. I think there's some good
Yeah.
ones, especially if they got
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This
Like,
is gonna be a big money maker for the state.
Like I just really like I know I'm passionate about this, but I do also want to just mention I have a brother, not blood related. 6 years in the fucking making. I'd do anything for the guy. So I'm at the same boat as you, Ada. I completely get it. He's my whole world, and I never want to lose that. But at the same time, it's like he can still be my brother, without being like, whatever. You get what I'm trying to say.
So maybe the 25K is to like, we like erase their name from the log. They don't gotta wear the armband or whatever.
Look, this family,
Oh my
this
God.
family tree, this tracking shit, this has nothing to do with the one-child policy. Nothing. This is something
it
that
was
Juno.
just my idea. Yeah, my
A
idea
side
completely.
project. Yeah.
Exactly. 100%.
Nothing at all.
I'm fine with people paying 25K for a little flair certificate, but it stops there. I don't care about tracking. I don't care about any kind of legal additions to any of this. It's a certificate. They could claim it on Twitter. Like,
Dakota?
As a member of the PD and a sentence at the end stating there will be a $50,000 fine for some kind of penal code infraction, I need to know what that's going to look like and how that's actually going to be enforced.
Adoption fraud?
So is that like,
it sounds like,
that like if Joe runs up to Bob and says, "I'm your son," but they're not actually related, and Susie hears it, Susie runs over to me and says, "I heard Joe say to Bob that they're brothers. Now go arrest him and fine him $50,000."
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you just call it like establishing personal relationships without the government's permission.
Look, Dakota, you guys do prostitution stings, do adoption stings, man. You'll get real rich real quick.
Look, there's a lot of crimes that kind of rely on that same kind of interaction, Like, hey, I saw this guy selling weed down on Grove Street, like, hey, go get that guy. You have to be dumb to get caught, and that's kind of by design.
Yeah. Also, spontaneous utterance could really apply to this as well.
True.
Yeah, people constantly claiming familial, connection to try and get out of, said charge or whatnot. It's like, oh, are you sure you want to commit to that one?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways we could trip people up and make a lot of money.
Also, sorry, go on, Max.
I was thinking about, I think it was Philippa who said, why stop at one?
Far more money.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't,
So
yeah.
what we could do is we can make a kind of like a compounding charge. So like 25K for the first one, 50K for the second one, 100K for the third one.
Fuck.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
Now, would this
This is
be like
crazy
per
money.
parent? So like,
You said that 10
say
minutes ago?
one
Really?
person adopts one sibling and the other parent adopts the other one.
Well, do we legally recognize marriages? I don't think we do, right?
Not yet. That's something
Wait,
else
do
I want to
girls
talk
count
about.
or is it just boys?
Just the boys.
We really were on the same line of thinking.
Oh, yeah.
I think this would also benefit from a legal definition of adoption, finally. And we could include siblings and shit in that particular definition, for the purpose of the weird freaks that like to do this shit. And that'll help us cover our backs as well when it comes to actually enforcing this law.
Yeah, so just to clarify, this will be the most highly penalized crime you can commit on paper financially in the city right now.
Good.
Nice.
It's a terrible fucking problem.
By almost double.
That's not true. Possessing a PD gun's like 30K.
Yeah, no, I know. This is 50, so it's almost double.
Sorry, Max. What did you mean by the sibling thing? Did you mean like?
I mean like alongside enacting, in theory, if we pass this, enacting a formal Los Santos definition of what adoption looks like in the eyes of the state, and including siblings in that, because when you adopt someone, normally you're adopting a child or like someone, you know, that needs the protection of a new family, whereas here it's kind of like a way to dap up your homies almost, like, you know what I'm saying?
I think I've got all the authoritarianism jokes out of my system. Don't tempt me. Why don't we, I think I'll just motion that maybe Juno and Max, if you guys want to put together like draft parameters so we could actually have something to review.
Sure.
And then we can vote on that like next week.
Okay.
So
Okay.
are you interested in the definition of adoption?
Like just because there's a lot of stuff we're talking about where there's like multiple variables, and it's easy in conversation to be like, oh yeah, we could just do it this way and that would work, but I kind of want to see it, you know what I mean, to vote on it.
Sure.
Right.
Sounds good.
Kind of
Yeah, I
getting
think
hard to
that'd
keep
be
track of this
because
one.
there's a lot of variables involved, so I think it's probably better if we have
Yeah.
something more concrete to go off of.
And you could
I
even
think-
put it in that council
Jokes aside,
section
I
if
don't
we
mind
get
the
that.
idea. I just think we probably need something to review.
Yeah, no, me either. We gotta just iron it out.
So what are you guys
Also,
confused
Max,
about?
Take a look at the art on Twitter review. That looks amazing.
Ooh.
It
Nice.
looks like a courthouse thing.
Oh,
It's good.
We
Nice.
You guys.
That's a good salute.
There you go.
And yes, I have worked out. I have worked out an arrangement with
It's not a
her,
salute.
so she will be paid. Yes.
Disco thing.
Okay, thank God you're pointing when he said that. I got
Not a salute.
Yeah, it's a disco thing.
I was like,
Yeah, staying alive. You know, yes.
right, yeah.
I think letting
Go
letting
on.
people adopt multiple and just having it double up every time is probably the way to go. If you want to make money from this and let people do stupid, but still, you know,
Mhm.
make money from stupid, then I think that's the better option.
Yeah, because people are clearly already affected by this. When they've heard about it or they've discussed it with me, they've gotten like upset about it, which means that
Passionate.
they will absolutely hate
Yeah.
this.
I mean, because at the end of the day, there are people who genuinely value those connections and those bonds and those relationships.
edit
And I
this.
mean, they make us who we are, essentially. For the
I
ones
think
who
I think the
genuinely...
language just needs to be very specific. We need to make sure we
Mhm.
cover all the different things we all raised here. You know, siblings and
Yeah.
fucking grandkids, and you know, basically we're gonna have to penetration test this and come up with every fucking loophole and stupid, clever exception people think they're gonna come up with first.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I'll be honest with you. Maybe this is just me being lazy. I don't want to hear 15 fucking lawsuits about, you know, I don't have to pay because blah 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 blah. You know, we need to make this thing airtight.
What do you mean?
Also,
Right.
the enforcement, please make the enforcement as
They're all going to sue the government and say
understandable as
I
possible.
shouldn't have to pay because, you know, this doesn't apply to me and this reason, that reason, the third.
Yeah.
And make it a little, you know, preemptive.
Okay. All right. Next meeting then. Next, we have the Sin Act. The Stop Incest Now Act, or Sin Act, is to prevent the rampant incestuous relationships in Los Santos and return society to a normal state. Let me
Dear
share-
God, yes, please.
Let me share this with you guys real quick.
Poor Aaron and Sis. What are we gonna do?
Stop fucking each other.
Yeah, ideally that.
Oh,
Hopefully.
well, they're exempt from this, so
They're
sorry.
exempt? Huh?
Hold on.
That's what it
Why
says.
are they exempt?
What the hell?
I don't know why they're exempt, but they are.
The folk are exempt.
Oh my god, they are.
Like the
That's
guys, they're
crazy.
not blood related guys. I don't see why they should be
I mean,
chastised.
they
for this.
aren't, I guess.
Wait, should anyone then?
They were other step siblings.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
Incest is rendered illegal.
The government doesn't recognize their relationship for the Sin Act, but does recognize their relationship for the purposes of the Family Tree Act.
No, well, they wouldn't be related if the one-child policy went through as is.
But I thought you said if you're related by marriage, then it counts.
They're not married.
Yeah, but they're brother and sister under. Aren't they like stepbrother, stepsister?
So
How are they related?
They are related by virtue of the fucking bullshit adoption shit. They're not even related.
Oh.
Well,
So
how
they
are they
wouldn't-
related?
I
This
don't
is
even
contingent
know.
on the first thing getting passed.
I think
Then
they've just decided they are. They've adopted each other, so they shouldn't be exempt from the other one.
I forget. When I first met Sis and Aaron, they were under the purview of a woman named Avita, and I wanted to schmooze her, and I kind of did a little bit, not really.
Are you Sis's dad?
I am his, as of 10 years ago, yes.
Oh.
Legally, he's not.
Oh,
He
I
hasn't
didn't
paid
know
the
that.
25
He hasn't paid the
grand
money
yet.
Well, guess
Oh,
what? Here's the thing.
Uh-uh.
Here's the thing. I have a genuine bond, and Sis makes me a great person, and he is a fantastic reflection of myself, and I would gladly pay $25,000 to make that official.
That's
What about Aaron?
Yeah.
Hell no, dog.
That's fair.
I barely know her. You know what I'm saying?
okay, I'm gonna bring up the same exact thing as the prior. How do I enforce this? With
Simple.
a $1,500 fine. Am I
If
breaking
they're
into
not
people's
related,
houses?
why do they need an exception? I'm confused.
I don't.
If Sis is talking about his wood in front of Aaron, then that's $1,500 right there.
Let's just forget the exception right now, okay? Because it sounds like the one-child policy is probably going to go through as soon as it's defined, which would make this
Yeah.
exception worthless because they wouldn't actually be related. Okay.
I'm not a fan of exceptions anyway.
Please,
so, yeah.
that makes okay. Please, let's
Okay.
do that then.
As for enforcement, if you see someone making out with their sister, slap them in cuffs. But apart from that, like it doesn't have to be an arduous.
They're in their home.
Well, then you
and
don't.
the
You
shades
can't
open.
charge them, Dakota.
Okay. Well, it doesn't say that.
I don't know. Maybe we should empower Dakota to be able to go into people's homes and watch.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't want that though.
So that they can figure
Dakota's
this
like,
out.
no, wait,
Wait, hold on. We call it the
Yeah, maybe.
LSPD Romance Division.
Okay.
We're really
God.
cooking
And then the
here.
subtan could be We Like to Watch.
We can just rename
That's
IA. It'll be IAC. It'll be Incest Action Committee.
There you go.
Oh my
Exactly.
God.
It's perfect.
That's so essentially the purpose of this fucking law is to outlaw incest. We'll remove the Folker exception because it doesn't really serve any fucking purpose. Incest, as far as I'm aware, is not illegal currently. And how do you guys feel about making it illegal, guys?
Wait, okay, so hold on. Is incest sex or is it making out?
Both. That's it. I count making out as incest.
If you're kissing your sister, I don't think that should be allowed.
I mean, I'd agree, but like, where is the line?
Yeah,
You
like,
have to
are
see
you
them
giving it a
kiss to
pes
charge
on the?
them?
Yeah, what about like an
a
OTPHJ?
A kiss on the cheek, or are we talking like tongue and?
Yeah. Can I also paint a?
Yeah.
This is not supposed to be a joke either, despite some of Crane's earlier jokes.
Uh-huh.
Two people are on a bench and they're making out with each other, and I walk up to them and say, "Let me see your adoption papers."
That's crazy.
Can you say it more angrily? Like more guttural?
That's as angry as I get in this scenario. I'm sorry.
Dakota, you're so
sheepishly
tired,
asked.
dear.
I
People
sheepishly
making out,
asked
and you
them.
have the
I asked
authority
them.
to go up and
I-
request that.
Do you see where I'm going with this, though?
Force people to identify themselves that they're not related.
So that's actually a good thing that we're gonna have to address.
Okay.
namely making it legal for you, or defining the legality of requesting adoption papers, I guess. I would like to see that. I don't see why not. Regardless, as is written now,
We would make everyone get family crests, and then you could just look on like their shoulder, and if the crest match, they can't be making out.
Oh, that would be
I mean, I think that's
Jesus
cool,
Christ.
TBH.
No, we're
Oh,
not putting
boy.
labels on
No,
people.
Nope, 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 nope.
Crane, I thought you were done.
No,
Oh my
no.
god, my
I mean,
eyes.
some of this is too easy.
Family crests are cool, guys. You got,
Yeah, that was like
a lion eating a
30%
dragon.
a joke.
You're too dumb to
We
get that
put a
reference.
family crest
No,
back
I
into
think he was being
Blood
serious.
No.
No, okay.
Nick fucked that up.
It ran better
Wow.
back then.
That's crazy. Excuse me, I run the place.
It's
You
a
don't
Nazi
insult
joke.
me.
He already made the armband joke, Twitch chat.
Nick didn't do shit.
Nazis didn't have a family crest, you dumb
God
prick.
bless. I mean, you figure out the implementation quirks. I'm for it, but God bless.
It's simple.
It's simple. We just demand their papers.
Actually, I do.
Well, as it stands now, adoption is not really defined. So I'm going to work on this, and we'll talk. I'll bundle this in with the fully defined one-child policy. Moving on, we have.
Can I just say, I'm not trying to jam up everything. It's just I'm going to be the one at the bench trial when someone takes it to court.
Right. And prove it in court. Yeah, do you need help figuring out how to prove it? Like, I don't like.
No. It's not the proving it. I just want to make sure that it's crystal clear for all officers, because I won't have a problem with being in court, but
yeah,
not everyone is me.
Yeah, 70% of cops can't read, so it's pretty tough for them to really figure that shit out. It'll be clear, Dakota, I promise.
All right.
We got the REIT modernization.
So we're
Act.
doing. Are we doing a review of that one with a draft next week?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just wanted to float the idea. We got the REIT Modernization Act of 2024. And I will share.
Wait. Continue.
What are you grumbling about, Crane?
When you say of 2024, isn't this an act from another jurisdiction?
I think so. I think it's inspired by it. I don't think it's completely derived from it.
All right.
Sorry, could you repeat the name of it?
Hold on, I'll text you. I have your number.
It's REIT.
Yeah. Real estate.
Lost
what is
from
it?
another
Real estate
dimension.
Investment trust. What am I? Oh, real estate. Yeah.
I don't know
That's.
about this one.
I'll hear it. I just wanna. I already have questions, and I.
Oh, Billy boy.
Ask your questions.
What you want you to tell us about it first?
Yeah, please.
Well,
please.
I mean, you guys clearly fucking know about it, so I mean, let's hear the questions.
I
know
just
what a
say for
REIT
my
is, but-
purposes, I literally just lambasted a couple lawyers today for, citing to Brady on the docket and things like that. So I would feel like a little bit of a hypocrite if we passed a, paraphrase of an act from another
fair.
jurisdiction.
That's why I want our version of patient privacy laws to be very different if we do them.
Okay.
How is it? Is it like simplified? Like, what's the content? Is just the name similar, or is it literally just the act but transcribed?
I have no fucking clue. I did not even know about this prior to, really talking about it and figuring out what we should do with this. Essentially, as far as I'm aware, the purpose of something. Does it sound like someone is moving constantly above us? By the way.
No.
You guys hear that
No?
shit?
I don't think
You
so.
don't hear the, you don't hear people
I
walking
hear
around.
it. I hear it. I hear it. I hear it.
No.
Maybe I was just
I don't think I do.
paying attention,
hear
but I
it.
didn't hear it.
But I also hear gunshots sometimes, and nobody else does. And
No. Someone. It definitely sounds like someone's on the roof moving.
I have restless
Oh,
leg
yeah, it's
syndrome.
Michael.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, it's fucking Michael.
Yeah, it's how he's sitting.
Okay.
Yeah, my bad.
That's fine. So the notes on this are simple. This is to enable affordable housing through real estate investment, specifically rent to own, where the only ding to the state is ensuring these kinds of trusts are tax-free. However, the long-term benefit to state comes...
What's a trust?
What's a trust?
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't fucking know.
So the rhetorical
boy.
point I'm making is that the problem with imputing acts from other jurisdictions is that they often use legal terms that are well defined through decades and decades of jurisprudence. And so when you start doing that, for example, we don't have trusts in this jurisdiction. So
Yeah.
right away, we'd have to define what a trust is.
Okay,
which then opens up to legally how do you open a
well,
trust and who can, you know.
This wasn't the actual writing in the proposal. These are more notes that I have written. Instead of trust, we could just write the word thing. It doesn't really matter.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I want to make sure we're, you know, able to back up whatever we're saying.
Yeah. To ensure this kind of thing is tax-free. However, the long-term benefit to the state comes from the asset fees the tenant turned owner will then be able to pay to the state, which they would not have been able to afford otherwise. That is the purpose of the REIT.
So basically, it's allowing an entity to buy up properties.
So we're
to
subsidizing
then-
slumlords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I don't like this at all. No, because
why
what's
not?
to stop a group of people from pooling money together, buying up literally all of the properties,
happening.
and then price gouging everybody and forcing them to rent from them forever.
I'll be honest,
And they
that's
get
already
tax break.
happening.
And they get a
I
tax
had
break,
Mr.
which we simply can't afford right
I had
now.
Mr. K come up to me and pitch to me in the hospital that this legislation had already been passed, so I was kind
Oh.
of expecting this. So that's crazy already. He was
Wait.
pitching. Oh yeah, he was pitching to me and my husband Fraser that that we should get in on this because it's already tax free because of legislation. that
Yes,
has been
there
passed.
are groups of people that
Yes.
are
Wait,
already
hold on.
doing this.
Hold
Yep.
on. Was he consulted in developing this legislation?
No.
So why would he know that?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
He's already taken lots
yeah.
of money from people and bought properties.
Yes.
And those people have not seen any profits yet. So
yeah.
But there has to be, if this was even entertained, there would have to be a limit on how many properties they could purchase. There would have to be a specified time limit as to when that house would be sold. They can't own that indefinitely because that's quite literally what would happen. A group of people would pool all their money together. They would buy up all of the properties and everybody would be forced to rent from them forever.
So as far as I'm aware, as far as I've heard, because I'm aware that this is happening, they're operating a rent-to-own program, which adds a small overall, like I think the number that was quoted to me was like $100,000 above the asking price of the house. But what these people would get in return is the ability to move out of the government-subsidized housing, to live in an apartment, to be able to store things in their apartment, to sleep in a bed that isn't in a jail cell sized apartment room. The trade-off is that, first of all, they don't have to have $500,000 to buy a house immediately. One. Two, they are able to pay instead smaller rent fee or charges or whatever. So they'd be paying rent, obviously.